Hey Ben.
EDUBBS show. I did the Facebook Live thing last Sunday, and it worked out pretty good. I got some new listeners, and some new people.
Hey Rich.
So, E, you there, buddy?
Rich, you hear me?
Eric?
Rich,
Yeah, man, you there? I
I'm
hear you.
here. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, brother. What's up?
Oh, great. How you doing? A little technical difficulty. 2 minutes before the show starts, I'm all prepared for an hour, and then all of a sudden, with 2 minutes to go, everything fails. But thank God, my IT guy Ben was here to help me out and fix this. So we're good now. I think we're good. You hear me clear? I wanted to make sure that you heard me clear and stuff like that.
I hear you clear. Can you hear me clear? Is my volume all right?
I hear you perfect. Perfect.
Nice, nice. All
So
right.
how was your Christmas, Rich? Did you have a good Christmas?
You know what? I had a really, really good Christmas. I really did. It worked out perfectly. We went to my sister Megan's house like we do every single year on Christmas Eve, and all the kids open up their gifts, and the kids do a little bit of a like a what is it like a Secret Santa type thing. They give each other gifts, and it's really literally just a family just hanging out, and we've been doing it every year, and it was a lot of fun. And yesterday, Christmas Day is always a lazy day in the Murphy house, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. Pretty much we get up early. It was weird because through the years, my kids, like, when your kids are really young around Christmas time, they wake up really early because they want to get those presents open. They rip them open at 5 o'clock in the morning. They rip them open and they want to wake you up and you need that coffee. The last couple of years, my kids have slept in. They wake up, oh shit, it's Christmas. They don't even remember. For some reason this year, my son Jack was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to go, pushing us out of bed. I don't know where the hell he got that energy because we were up late, but yeah, it was nice, man. I really enjoyed it. And my favorite part about the Christmas holidays is watching everybody be happy, man. And that's what really at the end of the day the holidays are all about. It's no matter what holiday no matter what holiday you celebrate, it's all about being with family and the people that you love and friends.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rich. That's what this season's all about. We still have one more to go, and then we can welcome in 2023 and stuff like that. Put a bow on 2022. But yeah, Christmas is good here. I watched a lot of football. Went to my sister-in-law's house yesterday, Stacy, and my brother-in-law Kevin. We had a good time, a little breakfast and stuff. Came home, had a little Chinese food, and watched more football. So I think I've been on my tuchus a lot this weekend. Basically, I need to get back to the gym. I've eaten a lot of food and stuff, a lot of good food. Had the red velvet cake. You like red velvet cake, Rich? You like that kind of cake?
You know what? I do. I love red velvet cake. It's got to have that cream cheese frosting on it.
Oh yeah, it's good. And you know what I like it though? I don't like it cold in the fridge. I like to take it out a little bit, like about a half hour before I eat it, so all that cream cheese is soft. And, oh, the deliciousness of a red velvet cake. And I forgot to ask you too, Rich. I never knew. Did you like Chinese food? I never knew your take on Chinese food.
Yeah, I do like Chinese food, but I pretty much get the same thing all the time. But yeah, I do like Chinese food. That's a question I was going to ask you because I know what you usually do on Christmas Day. Being that you guys in your family, it's like half Hanukkah, half Christmas, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of mix in the family. Yeah.
Okay, so now what on Christmas Day is your Chinese food local restaurant of choice? Do you go to the same place? Do you try something different every year? I know you do go. You do fall into that, right? You do get the Chinese food every year for Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. But the best Chinese food in the area, and I'm going to give them a plug right now because I found out about them about 5 6 years ago. Is Oriental Kitchen. So Oriental Kitchen is in that little shopping center across the street from John Jay High School. It's right next to the Shell station, the Florries, whatever. But they serve the best Chinese food. And when the first time I walked in there, the owner, they have a special menu, and he kind of knew I was a sophisticated eater. So the first thing he gave me was this off menu, which I select from, and I love the roast duck, and they make a roast duck over angel hair pasta with egg and scallion, and they put a little bok choy. Oh, it's so good, Rich. I don't know if you like roast duck or anything, but it is the bomb. It's really good.
What is bok choy?
So bok choy is like it's kind of like a celery almost, like we have celery. So bok choy is more like it's more like a leafy, like a spinach almost, but it's like celery because it retains a lot of water basically. So if you eat bok choy, make sure you're close to the bathroom because it's just like drinking a bottle of Poland Spring on a hot day, basically. So very good vegetable. I enjoy eating it. There's not much
Does it
taste to it,
taste like
Rich.
celery? Like you're chewing on a piece of? Does it taste like celery? Like you're chewing on a piece of cardboard?
Yeah, it kind of tastes like celery, a little softer than celery, but there's no taste to it, Rich. But it's when it's mixed amongst the meats, the vegetables, the pastas, the soy sauce. That's when the flavor comes out. It's crunchy. Some people like that crunchy taste. Crunchy type
I
of
got you.
sensation, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
So
you. Like
yeah, like
lettuce on a burger. I got you, man. I got you, man. Lettuce on a burger. You know what it is? I eat like a 5-year-old. Me and my two kids pretty much have the same diet. It drives my wife nuts because my wife, we used to make such good stuff around here. My wife we used to have a big wok and she'd make stuff like that, and she'd cook
yep.
all the time. And then my kids, like all they eat is chicken fingers and French fries and hamburgers and
Oh,
stuff.
jeez.
It's kind of like, no, that's kind of like my diet. But although I do have to change my diet significantly at the beginning of the January 1st, I know everybody makes their New Year's resolutions. This isn't so much of a New Year's resolution as a change in lifestyle for me. I have to change what I'm eating, and obviously I'm not overweight, but I've been just going to the doctors. Full disclosure for the last couple of weeks, and talking to different doctors out there. And at the end of the day, I eat like shit, and I have to change my diet. And if I don't change my diet, my life is going to be miserable for my existence on this planet. So I just have to change my diet. So I'm going to go see a nutritionist, I think, and I know you eat very good. You eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, and I just got to stay away from the shit. And Christmas is a very hard time. It's a lot of chocolate around, and I spend a lot of time in the bathroom, if you know what I'm saying, not going to the bathroom. So I got
Yeah,
to change
no,
my
I
diet
hear
for
you.
New Year. It's not a resolution; it's going to be a lifestyle change. So that's what first of the year. That's what I'm going to do.
You gonna join the gym too, Rich, or what? What's your
I mean,
perspective on that?
oh well, no. Well, like I've been clearing out downstairs. My son Jack has been all over me to start working out again. He looks at me. He's like, I look like I'm in better shape than him at 15. He's really into hardcore working out. We're building up a little bit of a. We don't have much space down there, but we're building a gym down there. We're gonna go old school basement. Steel plate weights, a little hang up, a little chin up bar. I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna work out in the basement. Me and my son starting the first of the year. So
Oh wow, wow. Yeah, I went to the gym on Saturday, but decided that I think the gym was closed on Christmas Day. But maybe I'll head out there later. I got to go back to work tomorrow, so maybe I'll just relax today. That's all I've been doing the whole weekend. But I did get up at 4:30 yesterday morning, Christmas morning, because the cat usually comes around and wants her food and stuff. So you know what I did, Rich? I turned on the Christmas Carol, the 1951 version, and I was kind of like watching this and kind of like making like today's type of movie and stuff like that. But I'm watching it and it's kind of like a horror movie with the ghosts and stuff and the music. I kind of like felt like I was watching a horror movie. Go back and watch the 1951 version of the Christmas Carol in black and white and listen to the music, Rich. It sounds like a horror movie basically. It's funny.
we watch it all the time. Like, listen, I don't watch it from beginning to end every year, but in my eyes, they remake a lot of these movies around the holidays, and most of the time they do a shitty job. I mean, sometimes they do, but as a matter of fact, progressively, it's probably getting worse because movies that are made today are just shit anyway. But if you're going to watch a Christmas Carol, you're going to watch two versions. You're going to watch a hokey version, like a funny version, and you're going to watch the original. So I
Exactly.
choose to watch the original, and if I want to watch a little offshoot of, I'll watch Scrooge because Scrooge to me with Bill Murray is fucking fantastic, dude. So to
Wow.
contrast of that movie, I have to watch the old school version, and I definitely watch Scrooge. Those are definitely two movies. Because Scrooged is a great, great movie, dude.
Wow, maybe I'll have to take a look at that next year. I think you can watch Christmas movies still, though, Rich. Right? It's still not too late to watch Christmas movie, right?
No, no, listen, if you're what do you call it? If you're Jewish, they come and arrest you on the scene. You only can watch Christmas movies on Christmas Day if you're Jewish. They come the Catholic police come and arrest you.
Well, maybe I'll show the guy my
And
Christmas tree. Maybe I can get a pass.
you better make sure that you're eating Chinese food when they get there, dude, because then they'll put you away for life.
Well, they'll see my Christmas tree and then they'll get confused, Rich. They'll just run away and stuff and say there's nothing real in the world anymore. But
You do have a
today,
nice
today,
little setup there. You do have a nice little
yeah,
setup over there with your Christmas tree and stuff like that. I know Jody, and Jody, celebrates, and you got Ben's got his, Ben's got the best of both worlds over there.
yeah, we do a little bit of each. And even as a kid, though, Rich, I did a little bit of each because you
That
know
really is
what?
good.
Yeah, it's about the season. It's about celebrating the season and stuff like that, and kind of like being cultured in different religions and stuff. And it's kind of like educating yourself. I think there's a lot of ignorance out there, Rich, and stuff. But actually culturing yourself and eating different types of foods, going to different kind of restaurants, and learning about different religions, it kind of makes you a better person in the world.
You know, it does. And being a better person. I think when you say being a better person, I think just like gaining knowledge of like, I think a lot of people, when they, like you just said, like, when they argue about race or they argue about, anything, I think people
Mhm.
just have to gain some knowledge about other people. People don't take the time anymore. And I know I say this over and over and over again. I sound like a broken record, but nobody takes the time to stop and just talk to somebody. Everybody looks at somebody and is like, "Ah, that guy's an asshole, or that guy's a jerk," or why? Why don't you call him up and ask him? Or why don't you go up to him and talk to him? Why don't you? People don't talk anymore again. I know I keep saying it over and over again. I sound like a broken record, but people don't talk in this world. That's why we have so many freaking problems. If you would just
Yeah,
stop and say, just stop it. Everybody wants to be right, E. That's what it is. Everybody wants to be right, and everybody wants to yell louder than the other person. Just stop and sit down and have some dialogue and talk about it. I'm not always right. You're not always right. I keep sounding like a broken record, but it really, really is what has to change around here. We really have to start stopping and talking to people and asking them why they feel the way they do and saying, no, you're wrong because I feel this way. So holiday season should not be the only time of year when people start thinking about other people's feelings. There's other people. I
exactly.
mean, you might run into somebody that's a complete douche, but you know what though? Even that guy probably has a soft side somewhere. So you know what I'm saying? So let's start talking.
Exactly. Exactly. And today's show 25, Rich, and I just want to get in some trivia. I know cousin Joe's in the room, and I know cousin Joe loves the trivial stuff. So number 25, the 25th president of the United States was William McKinley, and he was one of 4 presidents assassinated in addition to Abraham Lincoln, Garfield, and Kennedy, of course. The 25 also represents 25 characters in Mario Kart. The India board game Parcheesi. Parcheesi means 25 in English. The Roman numeral 25 is XXV. Manganese is the 25th atomic number. The Bible has the number 612,000 used 25 times. And Suwee, Arkansas, was the 25th state to join the Union on the 25th of June, 1836. How about that, Rich?
Yeah, those some. You know what? I would call. I dropped the ball on a lot of those 25 facts, but you really picked me up. That's what partners are for, dude. Yeah, man, those are some good. Those are definitely some. Richie, you're watching. I knew you'd come on there, Rich. I see you, Richie Morano. We're gonna start talking. We're gonna talk about your Dolphins in a couple of minutes, brother. So I expect you either type in, or call me on the phone, Morano. I'm coming for you, bro. We both might make the playoffs. My buddy Richie's on Facebook Live right now. He's a huge Dolphins fan, so I'm
Oh wow!
talking shit to him.
Did you see who was at the Dolphins game yesterday, Rich? Anthony Rizzo and Nestor Cortez were at the Dolphins game yesterday. So a little Yankee love didn't wear off good on the Dolphins, I guess, right?
Yeah. Maybe they're thinking of going to the Miami Marlins next year. You never know. Everybody looks into that, right?
We'll talk to baseball in a minute. But any popular number 25s, Rich? Any uniform numbers for the 25 that you know about that you want to talk about?
There is, and I could rattle off a bunch of names, but again, just like the number 24, the number 25, who wore the number 25? The greatest baseball
Not
player
too,
ever.
yeah, not too many famous people. I mean, you had Barry Bonds, Richard
That's what I was going
Sherman.
to say.
Yep,
It's
yep.
unfair. No, listen. It's unfair for the 24 and the 25 when it comes to that because 24 being who? Who we talk about? Willie Mays. 25 being Barry Bonds. Two of the greatest professional players in a major league sport to ever pick up a baseball bat and a glove or anything. So 24 and 25 to me were pretty easy, man, because you got Willie Mays and Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. And I'm saying it, and I'm going to argue that fact to the day I die. So number 25 for me is only one, Barry Bonds.
And Fred Biletnikoff, the great Raiders wide receiver, Casey Jones, your Celtics guy, Mark McGuire, and
Yep.
one of the greatest medical inventions of our time, Tommy John wore number 25.
Oh, that I didn't know. I didn't know Tommy John wore number 25. That's actually pretty cool. That's a good stat. Yeah,
Tommy
well,
John's he's like 80 years old now, Rich. Tommy John, you believe that?
I know. You know what's funny? I always used to get him and Gaylord Perry confused because for some reason, I used to collect baseball cards when I was a kid. Him and Jim Cott also. The three of them, I always got them confused because I had their baseball cards, and I just would always look, and they were always like they've been around for so long. So I would always get like Gaylord Perry, Tommy John, and Jim Cott when I was a kid, obviously. But the three of them, I always thought they were the same person when I was a kid because I had all these baseball cards, and I was like, holy shit. But yeah, now I know. I mean, obviously Gaylord Perry died this year, right?
Yeah, Gaylord Perry died, and ironically about baseball cards, I got Ben a couple of packs from CVS. I guess they have these baseball cards that lay on the toy section in these boxes, and it's a potpourri you get like any year. Basically, he got a baseball card yesterday of Roy Halladay with a piece of Roy Halladay's uniform from one of the All-Star games, I think. So Ben will talk about that later and stuff. But that's pretty cool, right?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I just made a very distasteful joke. Hope nobody heard it. He said Ben got a little bit of piece of Roy Halladay's, and I slipped in his brain.
Oh, jeez, God. Well, you don't want the brain
I'm
what was in
sorry.
that brain when he you don't want the brain what was in that brain when he passed
I'm
away.
sorry. I love Roy Halladay, but I can't help myself sometimes.
But yeah, so that's the number 25 in a nutshell. Also, today's December 26th, Rich, and 103 years ago today, you know what happened?
I do not know. Tell me.
We're going to talk about baseball, but the New York Yankees legacy started today, and I know you want to get on the Yankees and stuff and pound me about the Yankees and saying there's no
I'm
Yankee
gonna get on
legacy
the Yankees,
anymore.
dude. You better put on your seatbelt. I'm gonna be talking about the Yankees in a minute. So
Okay, but I'm going to be warm and fuzzy,
not
right?
that I'm
Yeah.
angry with the Yankees organization, people out there, but I'm angry with the whole Met Yankee fan base at each other's throats. That's what I'm mad at. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Hey, Pete Lyons, what's up, Pete? I see you.
So Rich,
I know you're probably gonna be grinding your teeth when you hear what I got to say about the Yankees.
well, thank God I have some Yankee support today,
Pete
Rich,
Lyons.
because I really need the Yankee support. It seems like there's so many Met fans that live up here, but I just want to let you know that 103 years ago today, the Yankee legacy started when they acquired one Babe Ruth from the Boston Red Sox for $25,000. And I wonder if baseball was in an outrage back then that the Yankees spent $25,000 on a player named Babe Ruth, who kind of like was money in the bank, right? Unlike this shortstop the Mets signed recently, Money in the Bank. But we'll talk about that in a minute, Rich, because I want to know what your reactions are on the Babe Ruth signing 103 years ago today.
My on the Babe Ruth signing. Babe Ruth was, I don't know. Yeah, it was a great signing, but there was, who was really playing against back then when you think about it. I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here about Babe Ruth, but it's been an ongoing narrative that I've been talking about for a couple of years. Who did Babe Ruth really play against back in the the teens and the 20s? And I'm not taking anything away from his baseball prowess, not anything. The guy was a superstar. He was a giant among athletes back then. He was Michael Jordan. He was Tiger Woods. He was back then. But who was he really playing against? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
and I understand, like, the grainy videos and stuff like that. I'm not taking anything away from Babe Ruth, but all right, 103 years ago he signed Babe Ruth. Who else were they going to sign? I don't know. I'm just souring on Babe Ruth over the last couple of years as a baseball fan because everybody's talking so much shit about people getting into the Hall of Fame and this one deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, that one deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. It just it's crazy, man. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of guys are being held out because of their attitudes, and I think it's bullshit. But listen, Babe Ruth, greatest home run hitter of all time, next to Barry Bonds. That's how I feel about Babe Ruth. Very significant day, though, by the way. Good, glad you brought it up.
yeah, I wasn't there to witness it. It wasn't. I didn't listen to WFAN that day either. It was very, very long ago, Rich. But we're fossils. But you said like who was around back then? I said definitely weren't the Nationals and the Marlins to play 36 times a year total. That's for sure. Did I just give a dig against the Mets, Rich?
Listen, you can dig the Mets if you can handle my response. Go ahead. Go
so
ahead,
so
buddy.
so so let's take Ben in. We're going to talk Mets. Hey Ben, can you call in? We
Good
want to
idea.
talk some Mets right now. Let's get
That's a
Ben
good
on the
idea.
phone.
There he is. I got him right now. He's calling in right now.
All right,
Where is he?
hello.
Where is he? Hey, Big Ben.
Could you hear
Ben.
me?
Raise your voice. Raise your volume a little bit.
All right. How about now? Is that good?
A little bit better. Just talk closer to the phone when we talk. What's going
Yeah,
on,
I'm
dude? How you doing? Yeah, there you go.
good.
There's my backup. Now we got two Met fans against the Yankee fan.
Yeah,
So
but Rich, you asked him how his day's going. His day's not going too well. He just lost $500 in a fantasy football league to you.
listen,
Yeah, before we
Ben.
start, I just want to say congratulations. There's an old saying: you can beat them once, you can beat them twice, but it's really hard to beat them that third time. And I'm living proof of that. So congratulations and good luck in the finals. Definitely screwed up playing Geno Smith over Dak Prescott, but oh well,
But listen,
another
Well, listen,
season.
Ben, you know what? You didn't make a wrong choice there, dude. Your team has been riding Geno Smith the entire season, man. It just happens. You know what I mean?
Yep. So yeah, because my would have been my number one quarterback was Dak. He got hurt, and I was bouncing quarterbacks at the beginning of the season. I think I was 0-3 to start the season. I went from Marcus Mariota. I don't know why I did that. I went Justin Fields one day before he started to prove that he's the real deal in Chicago. And then one day I picked
Right.
up Geno because he started to play really well with the Seahawks and with the core of receivers there. You got Lockett, you got Metcalf, and I rode with him for the whole season, and I became the number one seed with him. So not too shabby, but yeah,
My quarterback,
team kind of
my quarterback
struggled a bit.
situation, my quarterback situation changed a couple of weeks ago with Kyler Murray when he got hurt, and I can't stand Kyler Murray anyway. He's putting up a bunch of points. But listen, I jumped in there, and I know E dropped him a couple of weeks ago, and I picked him up, and I've been riding him for the last couple of weeks. I picked up Tom Brady, and I think he's one of the reasons why I've came back so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been pretty
Let me just stress
consistent.
the point. Let me just stress one thing, Ben. That last year I was a 6th seed, and this year I was a 6th seed, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go in probably win the championship against the 5 seed, who was Rodrigo, Mr. Ben Gerasi over there. What's up, Tim? So anyway, go ahead, Ben. What are you talking about? What do you got, Ben?
Yeah, I'm here to talk about some Mets. Before we talk about Mets, the last time, I don't know if you remember, but the last time I called into the show, I said
Right.
I saw a tweet, a rumor saying that Xander Bogaerts was going to sign with the Padres, and I was right. So I just wanted to say that before we started that that rumor was true, and the Padres got a scary lineup now, but I really want to focus on Correa because I think that a deal is going to be made. I think Correa is a Met, but I don't think that he will be a 12-year, $315 million Met. I think that there might be some contract
This new
possible.
news with Correa is going to significantly affect his salary, dude. Significantly.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, if they're saying that a fibula injury from a decade ago is going to impact his career, of course. And when you see two teams, Giants, they won 3 championships from 2010. Am I getting this right? 2010, 2012, 2014.
Yeah, the odd
And
years.
then
Yeah, even years. I mean, even
even
years.
years,
Yep.
even years, and then you have the Mets who are or who are in the Cohen era, pushing to win that third World Series, and you have two teams like that are skeptical about a supposed superstar's injuring his leg from 2014. Yeah, that's a big game changer in Correa's long term ability in his
So you know what?
baseball career.
Listen to my antidote to that. My antidote to that is, you know what though? If we're worried so much about him getting hurt, he's like, you know what? Save the money and we'll put Brett Beatty at third base and let him. We also still have Escobar. If this is so
Yep.
much shit wrapped up in signing this guy for $300 million, listen, I'm a completely different fan than most of you guys. I don't give a shit, man. If he's got an injury, just keep walking, keep moving. Like I said, we got two guys we can plug in at third base. We got Brett Beatty, who's probably going to be, he might be a starter if Correa doesn't come in. We also still have Escobar. And listen, Escobar, if you guys remember correctly, I know you got Met fans, some of you guys have a short-term memory, but Escobar kicked ass in the last couple of weeks of the season there. He played a good third base, and he had a lot of big, big hits. So the fact of the matter is, if all you young Met fans think this is great to have all these superstars at every single position, it's all well and good. But you also got to deal with the fact that don't get butthurt when Mr. $300 million a year, all of a sudden he's got an injury. That's fine. It's a roll of the dice. And everybody's like, oh, you could sign this guy. You could sign that guy. You could have a $500 million payroll, an $800 million payroll. It's not our money. The only way it's our money is if we buy the tickets. It's not our money. Let these guys spend money. I know the comparison between the different teams is, as far as like salary wise goes, is very, very, disparaging. But fact of the matter is, I was talking to E yesterday. A lot of these guys are only spending a certain amount of money on their baseball teams. They're billionaires as well. They just choose to, reap the benefits of the guys that are paying the luxury tax, like the Mets and the Yankees and the Cubs and the Red Sox and the Dodgers. They reap the benefits. This year, the Mets have a luxury tax of almost two small market teams.
Yep.
Hey, Rich, can I jump in for a second on that? Can I jump in, please? All these owners were crying poverty, but and the Yankees jumped in too, and people were jumping on me about the Yankees and stuff. But the Steinbrenner family they're ranked ninth amongst owners in net worth. Basically, they're not even up there with Uncle Stevie's up there by himself, basically. But you know what, though? Over the years, like we said yesterday, and I want to put it over the air here. I told you yesterday that no owner ever went over 300 million in payroll. The Dodgers could have easily done that, but there was well, you can call it collusion or not, but there's a kind of like a written rule amongst the fraternity of owners where no owner wanted to go above that $300 million threshold because it kind of like drove down the cost of a free agent. Now Uncle Stevie came in, and now the players are going to love this because there'll never be a salary cap in baseball now because Uncle Stevie's going to pay this amount of money that that not even that no baseball player is worth. He's going to pay out, and now you think a players' union is going to go ask for a salary cap based on this? Uncle Stevie changed the landscape of baseball, basically. And don't tell me that Steinberg came out and out. It wasn't Steinberg. It's the 29 other owners who band together to form this union. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. No. No, how the hell could these owners cry poverty, though, Rich? I told you yesterday, the Dolan family who owns the Guardians, they're worth $4.6 billion, basically, How about the Lerner family who own the Nationals? The Nationals used to spend money like it was going out like yesterday. They're worth all these owners are worth billions. The Cincinnati Reds owner can talk. He's only worth like $400 million, Castellani, and he was one of the ones that kind of put the hex on Stevie Cohen coming to the Mets, basically. But all these owners that cry in poverty, you know who caused this, Rich? The owner of the Padres caused this when he put that contract out for Francisco Tatis last year. He started this madness, basically. You can't blame Uncle Stevie on this.
Yeah, but that's the thing, too. I'm glad you said that because, even to go back to the 90s, you can blame the Steinbrenners changed the game, too, as far as money goes.
But you know what, though, Rich? The Steinbrenners changed it, right, exactly. But as you've seen throughout the years, they really, look at the inflation rates. Look when the Steinbrenners, but they never got above that $300 million, though, Rich. The Dodgers could have easily gone above $300 million. Easily, the Dodgers could have built a super. But you know what?
EDUBBS, I hate to say it, but the 1990s players weren't worth that much as they are today. I mean, today's money is completely different. You see the Dodgers paying
That's the point I was going to make, Ben.
You see the Mets paying $300 million. You see the Yankees paying $300 million for like a Judge contract. But the 90s were different. Baseball contracts compared in the 90s aren't the same as they are in the 2000 or 2020s.
Look at it comparatively.
No, agreed.
Look at it comparatively. Comparatively, if you look at it from the 70s to the 90s, look at it comparatively that way, and then take it from the 90s to present day. The money is switching at such an alarming rate. It switched and went from, like you said, Babe Ruth got $25,000. Now people are making $350, $400 million. So the change in salary is pretty much keeping up pace with what's going on in life. So if Steve Cohen wants to raise his to $380 million, whereas $285 last year for the Dodgers, that's $100 million bump in salary. And listen, comparatively to what's going on in this country right now, either you have nothing or you have a lot, and the people that have a lot are going to overpay, and that's fine. But $100 million, from 10 years or whatever it is, it really is. I don't really think that's a big jump.
No, it's with inflation and stuff. It's not a big jump, but I'm just saying, what's the Mets payroll now? The Mets payroll total, it's almost like $500 million, correct?
Yeah, I think the total
502
between the top players, the Verlander, Scherzer, Lindor, Alon, whoever's on these max contracts, I think the payroll is higher than 8 teams or something like that. I don't know if my numbers are correct.
Right, but Ben, you have to realize before a pitch is even thrown, these teams get $100 million right off the bat for TV, revenues. So you know what? I don't want to hear that the Pirates can't sign Aaron Judge. The Pirates' owner is worth $2 billion. Get out there and sign these free agents. I think it's the owner's problem. What are they doing with their money? Are they putting it in their pocket? I mean, the goal is to own a team. If you're not going to own a team and support your team and support your city, then get out. What is it? Was it an investment, basically? What are they putting in it? To water fountains, waterfalls in Kansas City, new stadiums? What are these owners doing with their money?
Yeah, and this was a big thing.
They're they're all putting it in their pockets. That's what they're doing. Now, I think, don't correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the whole purpose of the luxury tax is the other teams that don't spend or don't have as much as the Steinbrenners and the Cohens, as opposed to the Cincinnati Reds? Isn't the whole thing behind that that they're going to put their luxury tax back into a kitty, and guys like the Reds are going to say, all right, maybe we can sign sign Castellanos and take from that money. Isn't that the whole purpose behind the luxury tax in baseball?
Yeah, and you know what though, Rich? If you're going to own a team, if you get out if you can't do it. I mean, if you're worth $400 million, it belong in baseball. Maybe own a minor league team or something like that. Maybe go buy the Renegades or something. But I can't believe how these teams cry poverty when the owners are worth billions of dollars. I mean, go do a Google, everybody, on the Forbes list of baseball owners. Look how much these guys are worth. These owners.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I don't know who this is, FFJ, whatever, but it would be close to $500 million after the luxury tax. Listen, that is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, when you got $18-19 billion, I guess $500 million is a drop in the bucket. But he's setting a precedence right now, and the fact of the matter, and the fact of the matter that they're really looking into this Carlos Correa thing, to me, just makes me believe that he's Hey, what's up, Pete? Sorry, he what do you call it? He's changing the game, and he's up in the ante with everything. He's just and the fact that he didn't sign Carlos Correa leads me to believe that he's really thinking that he's not just grabbing all these big, that includes Correa. It does, and I don't know. The money's crazy this day and age. But you know what? If you have it, why not put it back into your team? That's the bottom line. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The whole goal is. Yeah, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
If you have the funds, money talks. I mean, people say, oh, they get so mad how these teams, they spend all this money and win championships. It's not as exciting being a homegrown team, like the Yankees, for example, and winning all the championships. But the Astros, they're paying these guys all this money. Dodgers, they're paying these guys all this money. They won the fake championship, the fake World Series in 2020.
Yeah.
So
COVID series, yeah.
Yeah, the COVID series, exactly. Yeah, so money talks, and if Cohen's able to do it, then do it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think we have somebody else calling in who wants to say a couple things. Try calling in, but no, you're right. But the fact of the matter is that these other small market teams. Hold on 1 second, Pete, you there?
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Hey, Pete, what's going on? How you doing?
Good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to you both.
Thanks. Hi, Pete. How you doing?
I'm well, Eric. How you
Happy
doing?
holidays.
Likewise to you.
Thank you.
So what do you got, Pete?
So, Rich,
I'm sure you're seething right now with what I'm saying about the Yankees, but
actually, I'm not.
Yeah, I need some help, Pete.
I'm not seething at all. So 2 years ago, when Cohen bought the Mets, I was so happy for Met fans because I knew he would be a disruptor in the league. And he wasn't going to be a disruptor the first year or so. The owners were going to the owners told him outright, listen, don't go bonkers. We got a collective bargaining agreement coming up. We can't have you be that disruptor before we get a new deal done. But once that new deal was done, he just went nuts. And you know what? I'm happy for the Met fans that he did, and I'm happy for baseball because it's going to force even the Yankees, right? I'm happy because it's going to force the Yankees to spend more money. And look what's happening. Did you ever think that the Yankees, after signing Cole for the stupid money they did, would now turn around and sign Judge for $360 million? And Hal Steinbrenner at Judge's press conference said, we're not done.
Yep.
Okay. And the fact of the matter is I knew it was going to be great for Mets fans, but I also knew, and I don't know long term how this is going to work out, but short term, it's going to force more teams to spend more money. And anybody who believes the owners, when they cried poverty, they just got their heads buried in the sand. Okay. They have so much money, even
It's
the
crazy.
smaller market teams that benefit from the quote unquote competitive balance tax, which we call the luxury tax. They can just go pound sand. And I agree with what Eric said. Go leave the league, sell your team, go find somebody who wants to spend the money. Now, do I think that we're starting to get to a place where we're paying players obscene money in all of sports, not just baseball? But yeah, we are, right? But if the demand is there and they're generating the revenue, who am I to say don't pay them that money? Right? But I love what Cohen is doing, and he's forcing every other owner, okay, to finally do what they should have been doing a while ago, and that's spending more money on their players. So I'm not coming into like, oh, no, I don't agree with what you're saying. I actually agree with what you're saying in terms of the signing these guys. And look, if he wants to go buy a world championship like George used to do, I will say George definitely redefined things with free agency in the 70s, right? He signed the first free agent, I think it was Catfish, right?
Yep.
So he defined things in the 70s and the 80s. In the 90s, we used a lot of homegrown talent. And why did we do that? Because guess who was kicked out of baseball for a couple of years?
Yeah, and you got to give credit to G. Michael on that one, Pete, right?
Right? So George was kicked out of baseball, or at least suspended from baseball for 3 or 4 years because of the Dave Winfield investigation, right?
Mhm.
And he turned around and turned everything over to Gene Michael. So Gene Michael is a baseball genius. I don't care what anybody says, right? I don't know that anybody has any ground saying otherwise. But he really cultivated. I call him the core five, right? I always like it to include Bernie into that.
You got to include Bernie, yeah, definitely.
Right? But let's think about that. That's probably the best example I can ever look back at the franchise of the Yankees and see how they used their homegrown talent. And it created a nucleus that spawned, how many championships over, 8 or 9 years. But
And Pete, don't forget the trade that when Michael came in, he made the Roberto Kelly for Paul O'Neill trade, which kind of like laid the foundation. And then they brought they brought in Jimmy Key. They got those little pieces together to go with the core five. Yeah, crazy, right?
They did. But so that was the 80s, that was the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But this decade belongs to Cohen. He is the disruptor that baseball needed to and the players union, they're tripping over themselves laughing and loving this because their players are getting more money. The agents are getting more money from the players. And, at the end of the day, it's look, Rich, we went to a playoff game when the Mets were in the World Series, when that was the World Series, right? Back, how many years ago, right? We went down, a bunch of us went down, we sat together, right? I mean, come on. I'm a baseball fan, right? Okay, so my team's out of it. Does that mean I'm going to turn the TV off? Hell no. Am I going to root for the Yankees? Sure, but I root for the Mets unless they're playing the Yankees because I have so many Met friend fans. It's been a drought for you guys. I would love to see things improve for you guys, and that's why I was so thrilled when Cohen became the owner of the team.
And it's just kind of like, what, Pete, like, for example, you just mentioned the Pittsburgh Pirates, somebody that, if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, how do you not give this kid O'Neill Cruz a huge contract when his contract's up? This kid's going to be a superstar, but he's probably going to play shortstop for the Mets, Yankees, the Cubs, the Red Sox, name your big market team. But they should give this guy, they should pull out every dollar to give this kid a contract.
Look what Cleveland did. Cleveland did it to their stars in the offseason last year with Ramirez, right? They gave him so much less than he's worth on the market, basically.
As much as the Guardians spent this offseason, in somewhere in the $10 to $20 million range, that was the most they've spent in a while in terms of the free agency market and stuff. They got Josh Bell. And I think they got one more person, or they retained someone else. But that was the most they've done in a while. But you never see Pittsburgh spend on anyone.
No, they're a small market club.
Quadruple A. That's what they call them.
But they have the money, though. They have the money.
They have the funds to do it. And we were speaking about Correa before. The supposed Correa sweepstakes last year when he went to the Twins. The Orioles were looking to sign him to a long-term deal. The Orioles have a lot of money in that franchise, but they never like to spend.
The Angelos family never spent. They never spent.
Nope.
Only on Chris Davis. They spent it all the wrong places.
Yeah, only on Chris Davis. They spend it in all the wrong places.
And him and Bobby Bonilla are going to be cashing paychecks till 2035.
Hey, Pete, I got a question for you. Since you're a Yankee guy too, do you think they missed out on the shortstops last year, or are they looking to? Because Steinbrenner didn't want to pay the money, or wait on these kids, or what did they do last year that was wrong? And heading into the 2021 season.
So look,
22 season, I should say, 22 season.
I don't think they did anything wrong there. Let me tell you why. So I watched Peraza 2 years ago as a Renegade season ticket holder.
Yep, I saw him a couple times too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I saw Peraza a lot. I saw Volpe every night.
Yep.
Okay. Those guys are legit. And they are just waiting. You saw Cabrera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oswaldo, they brought him up. I think they knew they were going to have to spend big money on Judge if they were going to keep him. And after just signing Cole 2 years ago, I think they didn't want to go out and spend any money at shortstop or second base. They weren't sure what was going to happen with Glaber, right? They still not.
Right.
I still think Glaber has a chance to be traded away.
I think so too.
So I don't think they made a mistake. I think they did the right thing. I don't think they did the right thing with IKF. I would have brought Peraza up and given him a chance. Some people thought it was too soon.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I think Peraza and Volpe, one of them's going to be your shortstop next year, and one of them's going to be your second baseman. And
Okay,
I don't.
What about LeMahieu? LeMahieu coming back, third base maybe for LeMahieu. But you got Donaldson.
I think you have. Well, if it were me, I would literally right now cut Hicks and Donaldson, even though that's $32 million in money between the two of them, with Donaldson having the lion's share at 25. I would truly just cut them both. Okay. It was a mistake. Own up to it. They have looked everywhere. They've even looked under rocks. Nobody will take these two guys. Okay.
Right, and the Yankees thought that Aaron Hicks was becoming a Byron Buxton when they signed that contract. The guy coming up through Minnesota and stuff. I mean, they give him 7 years, Pete. Right?
Yeah,
It was 7 years.
Yeah, that was like the what do you call it? Contract all over again. The guy from Boston, our center, Johnny Davis.
Oh, Ellsbury, Jacoby Ellsbury.
Jacoby Ellsbury. Yeah. So look, at the end of the day,
he's a candidate for the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah, they'll pick names out of hats, Rich.
All that means is he's been out of the game for 5 years. That's all it means.
Basically, yeah.
But no, look, at the end of the day, I think the Yankees actually made the right move, not signing a big-time shortstop. IKF didn't cost them much. But let me tell you why I'm not upset about getting IKF. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they did the IKF Rortvelt deal, okay? Because they wouldn't have gotten Rortvelt if they didn't get IKF.
Oh, the catcher, yeah.
Who Ben Rortvelt turned around, and they knew he had an injury, and then he hurt it more while rehabbing it.
Yes,
right?
I do recall that.
Which forced him to go and get Jose Trevino, who had a first half career year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think produced and did far better than Rortvelt did, and now Trevino is our catcher, not Rortvelt.
Yeah, right? You think Higgy's back? You think Higgy comes back as a backup, or they bring up Rortvelt? I don't know.
I think Rortvelt and Higgy are going to fight for the backup job. I think they will.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those guys, Pete and Eric, who's the better defensive catcher as the two of them? I think Higashioka does a pretty good job back there.
Oh,
Trevino's good. I like Trevino.
Trevino's the better guy all around, Rich.
Yeah.
But I would take Higgy or Rortvelt. To me, unless Ben comes out and just is on fire, Higgy's paid his dues. He's proven himself. He did I wouldn't have a problem with him being our second guy again. I wouldn't.
I just want to go back and ask. I want to rewind for a second because I didn't say anything because I was listening to you guys. Pete, you've been telling me about these two guys, Volpe and Oswaldo Cabrera, for the longest time. That's the reason why.
Yeah, Peraza and Cabrera, right?
You would watch these guys every night over there, and just hearing you speak about them, it's like, do you think the Yankees have like an embarrassment of riches at that position where they can cut one of these young stars and get a big time player?
I don't. I think it's a great question, Rich. I think they feel that if they cut, I think they'll be selling the farm again if they get rid of them for something short term that they won't necessarily need to do and just use them now, right? Okay. So I think that's why they signed IKF to a 2-year deal, because in their mind, they didn't think they were ready last year, okay? And if you saw what happened when they brought Cabrera and Peraza up at the end of last season, Peraza sat on the bench while IKF was still playing, and people are like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Right?
I hear you.
So
And then the playoffs started, and IKF was on the bench.
yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. So I think IKF is going to be a backup infielder. I think, and here's the other thing too. I don't want to knock IKF, and let me tell you why. We put a square peg into a round hole. IKF was a Gold Glover third baseman. He's
Sure
not a Gold
was.
Glover shortstop. Okay,
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
so he's traditionally he's a third baseman. So we brought him over to shortstop to fill a hole, and he didn't do a bad job, but he didn't do a great job either, right?
Right.
And his bat was suspect at times. And at the end of the day, look, shortstop's a tough position in New York for a lot of reasons, right? And we still haven't found that Derek Jeter replacement, right?
That's kind of like what I was saying, Pete. It's like when you put those pinstripes on, there's certain positions that hold a heavy load, and I think
Well-
center field holds a heavy load, and shortstop holds a heavy load when you become a New York Yankee and put on those pinstripes.
So does first base.
Okay. No, you're right.
But I will tell, and every starting pitcher, okay.
Yep.
But I will tell you this. There is a saying among Yankee fans, Eric, you've probably heard it. Rich, you may have heard it. The pinstripes are very heavy to wear. Some people can handle it. Some people can't.
Yep.
I don't think that just applies to the Yankees. I think the same thing applies to the Mets. I just don't know how they refer to it over there.
Now, Pete,
That was
this
the
is
point that I was
perfect.
going to make about the pinstripes thing, Pete. That's the point that I was going to make about the pinstripes thing. I understand, like, the Yankees have that over 100-year lore and this, that, and the other thing. The Mets wear pinstripes too. Now the Mets have an owner that's willing to spend money. Now you better be on your game because there's a lot of money involved. Because Steve Cohen's got the money to say if Donaldson, like for instance, Donaldson would have been cut midseason last year. I think personally, if you have
100%. If
He would
Cohen
be
was
cut
the owner,
mid-season.
yes.
So that's the fact of the matter is, I think when you say the pinstripes are heavy, and I think like the uniform as well is heavy in this day and age because of the fact that all this money is being produced and all this money is being given out that literally, like even in my profession, I'm an iron worker. If I don't produce on my job, if I don't do what I got to do, I'm replaceable. I'm only the number on my union card. And I think the money is getting to a point where, listen, I could get if I got to get somebody to do. If you can't do this job, I'll just get somebody else to replace you. Everybody's replaceable with all the money that's out there.
So,
But Rich, you have to have your head in the game too. I mean, I think Pete's also talking about these guys come to New York. You had Zach Greinke years ago. He couldn't function in New York. You had Andy Hawkins. All these guys came over from the Padres. They couldn't function in New York. You need a guy that's New York. It's almost like you got to give the guy a psychology test when he comes to New York, basically.
That's true, Eric. That's true. But let me tell you something. Rich is 100% spot on and absolutely right. I don't care what your profession is. Every one of us, whether you're an iron worker, an IT worker, whether you're a Major League Baseball player or some Major League athlete somewhere, we're all replaceable.
Of course.
And it's you can't do the job, next man up or next woman up. Okay.
And a lot of people don't realize it about themselves. A lot of people go into a position, they think they're a superstar and don't realize how replaceable they actually are. And then they look at you and be like, "Whoa, what do you mean? What did I do wrong?" That's what it's just in life, Pete, like you just said, in life.
Yeah, let me tell you something else that's adding a lot of weight right now to the Yankees.
Yep.
That is something to wearing the pinstripes that it's kind of unspoken weight, right? And it's something that the franchise hasn't had to normally deal with over its history. What is it?
Oh my God. I can't think.
Okay, it's going to lead me to my next point after I say it.
Okay.
It's been 14. It's been 14 years since they won a World Series.
Yes, and they didn't win in a decade. Last decade, they missed the World Series. Yep.
The weight is heavy, and it's heavier than it's ever been.
Yep.
And other teams, have won 1, 2, 3 times as many World Series since the last time they've won. That's not supposed to happen.
Yep.
Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to sound like some chief, arrogant, snob Yankee fan. I'm saying that, but that never really happened other than with the Dodgers. Okay?
Right.
up until the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s came along. Maybe St. Louis a little bit, okay? But it's unghastly to think that the Giants have won 3 World Series since the last time the Yankees have won one.
Yep.
Okay? So this leads to my next point, though. What do we say about no matter what your profession, everybody's replaceable? Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman, in my opinion, and I have said this and written this so many places on social media for the last 5 years, needs to go. Everybody thinks he's the best GM. Oh, there are some people that thinks the guy walks on water. Okay, he's been the GM for the last 25 years, longest tenured GM in Yankee history. But he hasn't produced a World Series in the last 14. So some people, and I'm sorry, I see a baseball season as a failure if the Yankees don't win the World Series. I don't care if they make it to the playoffs. I don't care if they make it to the LCS. I care if they make it to the World Series.
Right.
Okay? And they don't get their ass swept. But if they don't win the World Series, isn't the season a failure?
Yeah,
I think if you look at it from the perspective of any team, you know what I mean? If your team is all in with winning, I think for if you're a Yankee fan, if you're a Met fan, if you're one of these big market teams, it's got to be a disappointment if you don't make the World Series. The disappointment that I saw in my son Aiden's face when they lost to the Padres in the first round. Now you guys know my son Aiden. My son Aiden's a bigger Mets fan even than I am.
Yep.
Exactly.
He takes these losses to heart. He was he really thought that Pete Alonso was going to be running around at Citi Field with that World Series trophy in his hand. And I really thought so too. But
well, no shirt on, Murph, right? No shirt.
And I think the fact
no shirt, no buzzer.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is I think it's everybody's expectation as a fan, whether you're a football fan, baseball fan, even a soccer fan. You think France, people in France were crying and inconsolable when they lost in that World Cup.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan, the expectations if you get that far is, holy shit, we made the playoffs, and you go out in the first round. No, you're in. We can win.
But Rich, you know what? You know what's really sad? There's a large number of Yankee fans that have started to think differently since George died. And when George died in 2009, which is no coincidence or 2010, is no coincidence. Whatever, the last World Series we won is in 2009.
Yep.
And it's not like we've been back there a bunch of times since. We haven't. And listen, the fans, there's a lot of Yankee fans that I am just dismayed by, because they're like, hey, look, there's only been like 9 games Cashman has been the GM for that we've played that were meaningless in his career over 25 years. I'm like, who gives a shit? It's like, you didn't win the World Series. That's like saying, oh, yay, we won the division, or yay, we made it to the wild card play.
Wild card, yeah.
Okay? But we lost. Oh, but we made it to the playoffs. Well, guess what? 16 teams. How many teams make it to the playoffs now?
Yep, a lot.
It's that proverbial second place trophy thing. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know my book. Nobody, I'm not a participation trophy guy, right?
Right.
Yes,
right.
I know. We know that. Me and Pete have been coaching baseball, been around Little League and all-star teams and travel teams to know that very well, dude.
Amen.
Well, Rich, you remember Ben with his 0-11 basketball trophy? He finished in 0-11. He's got a trophy, right? And stuff, right? Crazy. But Pete, I want to jump in 1 second. I just want to jump in. I mean, the Yankees had Joe Torre, Girardi. They had something that's not available today, and I think that's what you need in the dugout. Joe Torre had Don Zimmer sitting next to him. Joe Girardi won in 2009, of course. He had Rob Thompson sitting next to him. I think Aaron Boone needs something. You need like a Willie Randolph type. And, Don Mattingly would have been that perfect guy to sit with Aaron Boone. I think you need that bench coach, the old guy. Even Larry Boa, he's available now. Bring that old guy in to be your right-hand man. And I think that's what's missing, Pete. Do you agree?
I agree. There's a couple of things like that missing, Eric. But let me just say something about Willie Randolph.
Yeah.
It is blasphemy that man is not managing his own major league team somewhere.
Agree.
Blasphemy.
Totally
The Mets
agree.
railroaded him, and my team did it to him. The Mets railroaded him, dude.
It's blasphemy. It just
Mhm.
is. Okay.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's
Why
number
not get
one.
another job in Major League Baseball? How does that guy, Willie Randolph? Look, Willie Randolph wasn't, he wasn't the best player, but he was out there and he was a leader on that field.
He's
How
a
does he
knowledgeable
not
guy
get
too.
a
He
job
knows the
coaching?
game, Rich. He knows
He
the
knows
game.
the
How does he
game.
not
He
get a
was a
job coaching
Yankee
Major League Baseball?
captain.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that's not handed out lightly. We know that, right? There's only been 16 captains in the history of his team. Now,
Exactly.
does being a Yankee captain make you qualify you to be a manager? No, but I agree with you, Rich. He was railroaded by the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
He
He
was.
absolutely was. Absolutely
Um,
was. And listen, through the years too, like and you guys all know we know each other a long time. I'm not your typical Met fan. Like the Mets have made a lot of bad decisions over the years. And a lot of people say, oh, it'll be okay. Well, we'll get them next year. No, it's not. They make a lot of bad decisions. But the thing is, and that's what gives sports talk, and bullshitting among friends and sitting in a bar. That's what kind of gives us fodder to talk about. You know what I mean? Because listen,
absolutely.
at the end of the day, what we're discussing right now, all of our teams aren't going to win the World Series. All of our teams aren't going to win the Super Bowl. And it's fun to watch and it's fun banter. And it's fun to root. And it just gives us something to get away from the everyday bullshit that happens in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, with that, I think, Eric, coming back to your question,
Yes.
a little birdie that I know that played for Joe Torre, and this kind of shocked me. Okay. So I know this person as an acquaintance, lives in the
Mm-hmm.
area. I call him a friend, but we're not close friends. We're
Okay.
friendly, okay? Played for the Yankees for a short period of time during the Joe Torre era.
I think I know who you're talking about, Pete. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name any names.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. No problem.
And he played when Jeter was just coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I asked the person about the lore of Joe Torre because I'm enamored by him, right? I
Right,
thought
right.
the guy, because most people don't know this, but the Yankees first offered Joe Torre the job of GM.
Yep.
Okay. And he said, oh no, look, I can't, at my wife Allie and other stuff. And they said, okay. So they went to him earlier that year to say, hey, listen, things are going to be changing in the off season. Would you want to be general manager? And he said he politely declined them, but said, if there's other opportunities that open up in the organization, I might be interested. Let me know. So then they went back to him and they offered him a job as manager. Okay. And that he jumped on in a heartbeat immediately. Okay. And I did not know this, but the person I spoke to basically said that Don Zimmer made most of the decisions.
Wow.
Okay. While that person was there and he witnessed it firsthand. So then I had the opportunity this past summer to spend some time with Dwight Gooden over at Dutchess Stadium at the Renegades' last home game. We had a suite, and Mookie Wilson and Shane Spencer and Doc Gooden were there.
I was at that game.
And they spent time with us in our suite, and they spent lots of pictures with the boys and autographed, and they gave a lot of advice to some of the boys that were there who were trying to go on to college, and just gave them some great tips. And one of them even gave my son his cell phone number because he's a pitcher and said, hey, if you ever want any advice, call me, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, cool.
But those two guys who were there also pretty much confirmed the same thing, that when a lot of the critical decisions came down, it was Zim who made the help really told Joe what to do.
Wow.
And now that's not to say Joe Torre wasn't the manager and did not make a lot of decisions, but a lot of those crucial decisions, Zim had a huge role. Now, the reason I say
Now let me
that,
ask you. Now let me ask. Just I'm sorry to cut you off a second. Do you think that's kind of what's going on right now with the Yankee organization? You think Aaron Boone's not making any decisions? I don't think Aaron Boone's making any decisions for that.
well, I think so. Where I'm going with this is I think computers and numbers and data are making decisions, and he's just basically handed a lineup card every day. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't even make up the lineup, right, Pete? He doesn't make up the lineup.
No, I think there's very little human element that goes into making the decisions during the game, before the game, and that is killing the sport.
Yep.
You know
And
exactly, Pete, and he's and Aaron Boone through history of baseball is a prime example of how statistics, whatever. What was Aaron Boone's statistics get when he hit one of the biggest home runs in Yankee history? Did that statistics tell you that Aaron Boone was going to hit that home run?
it was not. He would never have gotten that at bat today if that scenario happened today. He would never have gotten that at bat, Rich, and the Yankees would never have gone on to the World Series.
And that's the point I'm making about these statistics and the analytics. Listen, analytics and statistics look really good in April, but if you're building a team and you're going to go by statistics, when you're going to make that big game, you got to have. Listen, you could have all the home runs in the world, you could have all the strikeouts in the world, you could put outs, this, that, and the other thing, but if you don't have balls when it comes to the playoffs, listen, statistics and analytics don't calculate balls, and a lot of these.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now, Rich. Your team has a lot better chance of using the human element than my team does, because hiring the two best things that happened to the Mets were Steve Cohen buying the team and Steve Cohen hiring Buck Showalter. Okay,
100%. That's the point that I was making, Pete. 100%.
And Buck would never agree. He talked about it while he was a Yankee broadcaster. Okay, if somebody offered him a job, they would have to agree to let him manage the team, right? Yep. And use data when he wants to use data, okay, but not let it use him and not let it use the organization.
Yeah. If you have a feeling about somebody, if you have a situation, something, or if you have that feel, like, I don't know if I remember the story correctly. Like Joe Torre, like when he put Aaron Boone up to bat there, like Joe Torre didn't look at any paper and say, Aaron Boone would fit perfectly in this position. He's like, you know what? He was probably staring at him for like 2 innings and says, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. And you know what, though? He hits that home run. Joe Torre made the best decision ever. If he gets up and whiffs on 3 straight pitches, Joe Torre is an idiot to the Yankee fans. That's the great thing about sports.
Joe Torre and Aaron Boone were both interviewed about this, and I've seen this many times. Aaron Boone's average for the year would never have allowed him to come into that game at that point. The only thing that led him there, and there is some data to this, is the pitcher that was in. Aaron Boone was like 8 for 10 lifetime over him at the time.
Was that Wakefield, Pete? Was it Tim Wakefield?
It was Wakefield and knuckleball, right?
Yep. A righty and a righty, believe it or not. Righty and righty, right?
Righty, no matter, believe it or not. So that's what prompted Joe Torre. He knew that Boone owned Wakefield, okay? But when you know something like that, you take a chance, okay? So, at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan. Now, look, I'm a guy that does Game Changer for high school games, travel games, you name it, right? I believe there's certain things about data that you can look at from a trend perspective, right? And look at certain things to use it as a development plan for younger kids, right? How are they doing with first pitch strikes? How are they doing with, pitch counts and innings, pitches per inning, things of that nature? How are they doing with certain things with hitting, right? But it's not something that you go to the point where major league teams use it today. And look, they could say we don't know what the hell we're talking about. They could, but it's the game is different today than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? And in many ways, many dimensions. I mean, look, did you guys ever think you'd see what's going on at Citi Field right now happen?
No, never in a million years.
Not
next
really.
10 years, what I think
What's
that the Mets would be with the Wilpons. I thought the Wilpons were going to pass that team on to their grandchildren, their kids, and their kids.
Oh,
And
that's not what
my
I'm talking
grandchildren are
about.
going to be complaining about the Wilpons.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What's that?
What's going on at Citi Field right now?
But they're bringing in the fences, right?
They're bringing the fences in right field tremendously.
put a party deck out there or something, right, Pete?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But they're bringing the
Yes,
fences in right field.
Well, there's a conspiracy theory though about that, Pete, because they thought Aaron Judge was going to come to the Mets. When I first heard that story, that was a conspiracy theory.
Oh, that's just a joke. That's just
Exactly. And you know well as I do. I know that we had this conversation about that. I wanted Aaron Judge to stay a Yankee, and we have our own version in Citi Field and Pete Alonso.
Yeah, Rich, let me jump in. I want to hear Pete. Rich, I want to hear Pete's take on that. Pete, do you think the Yankees would have ever signed Aaron Judge? Do you think that Cohen would have stepped on Steinbrenner's toes? Do you think that would have happened?
So there was very early on where there was some potential conversation that Major League Baseball was forced to investigate for possible collusion between the Yankees and the Mets right towards the end of the season. And supposedly the MLBPA was accusing Steinbrenner of calling Cohen.
Yeah, I remember that. Rich, we were talking about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And you heard a little bit about it when it first supposedly happened, and then you never heard another word again. Right.
Yep, exactly.
But I don't think so. I don't think Steve would have. The fact that he didn't make an offer is in line with what I was thinking all along. I think he felt he could spend that money more wisely to better his organization over a number of different players, and that he didn't need, as crazy as this sounds, he didn't need an Aaron Judge on the Mets, right? I know that sounds crazy, but while he's close to being the $500 million payroll, imagine what the payroll would have been if he did do that.
Right.
But I'm gonna put a little thing out to you guys because you two guys are probably two of the biggest Yankee fans I know. We're gonna follow the progress this year. I think that it's not gonna be close or even better. That I think Pete Alonso is going to get a huge contract out of this because I think Pete Alonso is going to be very comparative to Aaron Judge.
He's got to get a contract out of this.
He has to get a contract, Rich. Alonso's the future of our franchise, and a lot of people are saying, well, Aaron Judge, you could put a captain tag on him. Well, the Mets have had two captains in their 50 years as a team. But who knows? Maybe Alonso can be that next guy because Francisco Lindor's not even though Francisco Lindor is a Met for the rest of his life, pretty much. That's what we could speculate right now. He's not a captain. He's not homegrown. Brandon Nimmo, he'll likely be a Met for the rest of his life. But is he really that guy compared to Pete Alonso? Pete Alonso's a homegrown Met. He's proven himself to be an MVP caliber first baseman. He is the next captain of the New York Mets, and I think that they're going to sign him big time before any other player next offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll get himself a great contract next year.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. And they're both going to. Like I said, I'm glad that he's going to get a big contract, and I'm glad that he got both of these guys in New York because this is going to be very exciting baseball with these two behemoths in New York battling each other for who's the king of New York with home runs. I just think that Alonso's got to get, hit a little more, singles and doubles to get the average up a little bit. But I don't know, man. I think those two guys for the next, maybe 10 years to come are going to be monsters in New York, and they're going to bring a lot of exposure to home runs being hit in Citi Field and Yankee Stadium throughout the years. I think so. That's my personal opinion. I think the both of them are going to be filling these stadiums for the next 10 years. And the fact that I keep saying that these owners need to spend money, they're going to be the guys that are filling your stadiums. Give Aaron Judge all that money. Give Alonso all that money. I don't care we're giving Lindor $340 million. You know why? Lindor goes in, he sits down with all those young players, and he speaks to all the Spanish players. Alonso has his thing. And together, I'm watching these Mets grow as a young team, and they need a guy with Alonso to be the face of that franchise with that look. With that look like, I got this, guys. I love watching him in that home run derby. I love his arrogance.
You know what's great about the Mets too? Lindor, McNeil, Alonso, the whole clubhouse. They play as a team. They are a team. They communicate with each other. Closing pitchers are communicating with their second base, and that's Buck Showalter, and that's his attitude towards managing a team. I don't, I mean, I could bash the Yankees all I want, but the Yankees are very cliquey. The Yankees are a cliquey team. You see pockets of friendships among the Yankees, whereas
Yes.
the Mets you see as one big clubhouse, and that's what
It always
a
like that,
baseball
Ben.
team should be about. And it's always
Ben,
been
that's
like
ve-
that.
that's
Yep.
very, very new, and I really do. I credit Buck Showalter to get last year. They were a mess last year. You got Baez and Lindor giving the finger to the fans. You got the
Yeah.
squirrel and the rat, and this one's fighting with that one. All that shit went away the minute Buck Showalter signed that contract.
Yeah.
Yep, it all went away. Yep, exactly, and that's why you got to have a real manager in some of these clubhouses. I mean, the Mets, after Terry Collins, we've had crap the past couple of years. We had Mickey Callaway. He was what was he, a pitching coach for
Yeah.
the
He
Indians, now
was.
Guardians,
Yeah,
and
that was a
it
waste of time.
never worked out. And then we thought the Rojas, after Beltran, with what happened there. We thought Rojas would be the guy, homegrown. He's been working in the minor leagues since early 2000s, with the Mets, and it just never worked. He was not meant to be a big league manager, and I mean he's doing great things, with the Yankees as a third base coach, but.
Yeah, but
He's
that's
just
his
not meant to
place,
be a
though.
big league manager. That is his place. Is he major league caliber? Yes, but
No.
as a manager, absolutely not. And I think that Buck Showalter is the perfect solution to fixing those cracks in the ice with the Mets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I saw an article recently. I want to say about a week ago that said right after Judge signed that baseball is back in New York and it's about time. And it wasn't just about Judge; it was about the collective nature, about how dominant the two New York teams are poised to be with what Cohen is doing with the Mets and what Hal has stepped up and signing Rodon, and with Judge, bringing back Rizzo at first base, and again, haven't done. Yankees haven't significantly enhanced their offense. I think they said they're not done yet. I still think they're trying to get a deal done with Reynolds and some others with the Pirates. Although I think the Pirates want a lot of top pitching prospects, which they just don't really have that much of. But I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's going to be an interesting season.
All right, listen,
Hey, Rich, am I back?
definitely talked.
Rich, am I back?
You're back. Yes, you are.
Okay, I
You're
got
back.
kicked off. I got kicked off for a second, but yeah, no, I think it's going to be a very entertaining season. And Pete, I don't think the Yankees are done just yet. I think there's another move pending, or move or two. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that as you were joining back. I definitely think there's one or two left.
We got some feedback.
Hold on, Rich. Yeah, hold on.
Chewy. All right. That's no feedback now.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's gone.
All right, good. All right, listen, guys. We got an hour and 12 minutes in. We're talking about baseball. I got a lot of people text me, where's the football? Where's the football? So we got to get our NFL stuff in. So I don't know, Pete, if you want to hang on, you want to talk a little bit. If anybody wants to, we're gonna shuffle off onto the NFL now. What do you think about that? I mean, you can hang on, Pete, and talk if you want. If you got some input.
Rich, I got to drop and get on another call at 11:30 for work. But listen, guys, thanks for having me on this morning. I love the show. I've been starting to listen more. You guys are doing a great thing here. Keep it up. And thanks for letting me talk today. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to you both.
Thanks, Pete. We want you
Happy
back.
holidays to you too, Pete. Pete, I'm going to call you later. Now that you've been on, I got an idea that I want to go over with you as far as this goes. I just want to bounce something off you.
Call me anytime, Rich.
You got it, Pete. All right, brother. Merry
Take care,
Christmas,
guys.
and Merry Christmas to your lovely family as well, too, Pete.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
All right. So,
sorry, Rich. Had some technical difficulties there, but I'm back, I think, now. So
yeah, Rich,
listen.
I'm not there with my football yet, so I'm going to sign out as well. But thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on again, and I look forward to speaking again in the future. Who knows? Maybe the Mets will do something big. I know Liam Hendricks is a name floating around, so maybe the next time I come on, we'll speak about what the Mets have done since.
Hey, what do you call it? Ben, I'm going to say one more. I'm going to say one thing, and you just said about the Mets. Yeah. I don't want nothing else. Let's fucking go. I don't even care if Correa's not on the team. Let's go. I don't care. I don't want to hear about, could we sign that guy? Could we sign this guy? I don't want to hear it anymore. Let's go. Correa, he may have a broken fibula. He may have whatever. Who cares? Go somewhere else. I think the Mets don't need nothing else. That's it. Let's just go play baseball.
This team's been getting better every year, so all we can do is watch and just appreciate the magic that they're doing in that front office. So
All right, kiddo. All right, Ben.
all
It
right,
was good
Rich.
talking to you, kiddo. Just
Yep,
listen up on it. If
thank
you
you
want to
guys for
chime in with
having
the
me
football,
on.
chime
Yep.
in.
Thanks,
All
Ben.
right,
All right,
take
dude.
care.
Take care.
Later. All righty.
Wow, Rich, that was great. I really enjoyed talking to Pete. He was really a knowledgeable guy, and it's always good to have another Yankee fan in the room.
Listen, you want to, and all kidding aside, you want to talk to somebody that literally knows the ins and outs of, like, you want to, I could talk, listen, me and Pete, I could talk to him, for 4 days straight about baseball. He's very knowledgeable, great conversation, and he's a really good fan too. He's not one of those fans that hates on Mets, and we've got to a lot of games together over the years, and I really
Nice.
enjoy this conversation. So he'll be back on again.
Nice.
All right, so now, we got the NFL, bro. So the NFL. We can we can go anywhere with this right now because my season. Listen, you know what? And I'm a Jet fan, diehard Jet fan. I don't want the Jets anywhere near the goddamn playoffs, but the Miami Dolphins couldn't win a football game yesterday to completely kick my Jets out of the playoffs. I don't even want them there. Everybody's hanging on hope. I'm looking at the TV. Oh, if this scenario happens, if that scenario happens, the football team is not winning a goddamn playoff game. It's not.
Rich,
And I'm telling you, you know what, Pete, what are you going to say about that? I am going to rant on the Jets for a couple of minutes, and you may not be able to speak for about 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm going to rant against the Jets in a minute. And what do you got to say about that game, the Jets and the Jaguars game? Because then let me take off.
Okay, I just want to say the Dolphins have lost 4 games in a row, so everything was there on the Jets' plate to win and get in the playoffs, basically. But you know what, though, Rich? The Jaguars are a hot team right now. The Jaguars came into the Meadowlands. They've won 5 out of 6 games. And you know what? I think the Jaguars are going places. But you know what? The Jets should have won that game. It was a home game. The weather was nasty. Lawrence should have not been on that. It was. Did you see the rain? That's old Meadowlands weather, Rich. That's like Giants and Jets weather. The Jaguars should have never won that game, basically. And the Jets never showed up.
Jets never. No. Listen. Look, and you know why the Jets never showed up? And I think, and look, when you go out to play a football game, you go out and play 100% of the time, no matter what. But I think the Jets, their entire team, looked at the coach and looked at the organization and said, "Are you guys serious? Zach Wilson is starting again." Like, I'm not saying that's dividing the locker room or it's like the way they're playing, but that kid cannot play football. I'll say it again. He cannot play football. If he goes out there on the field one more time and looks lost, he doesn't know what to say. And I am blaming the Jets organization as a whole, not the players, for their free fall. The Jets as an organization with a little bit of a better quarterback win at least 3 or 4 more of those games. Zach Wilson never played a big football game in his life. He played at Brigham Young. Now, look, as far as Utah goes, as far as like the state of Utah goes, as far as the surrounding areas, as far as anything, yes, he's a big deal. Like, he played at a big college and this, that, and the other, BYU, whatever. But you put Zach Wilson on a program like Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Michigan, Ohio State. He's not a good quarterback. He probably wowed the people in high school. He probably banged a lot of chicks behind closed doors because he's a Mormon and he's a good-looking kid, but he can't play football. And the Jet organization from Jet fans has egg on their face. And the reason why they have egg on their face is the fact of the matter is I can't see Robert Saleh saying it's a good idea to put Zach Wilson in. I think that the brass said to Zach Wilson, you better say that Zach Wilson is your quarterback because we picked him number 2, and we got to give him a chance. You give him a chance when you're fighting for the playoffs. You don't. You sit him. The other kid's Strebler. Okay, Strebler came in the other night. Now, again, I'm not another one of those Jet fans that keeps crying about, oh, we should have started Strebler. Strebler's the future. Oh, Mike White's the future. We don't have the future quarterback on this football team right now. Mike White is the closest thing to it. He's a tough kid, broke his rib, tried to play the game. Zach Wilson is not the future. Strebler, I don't know nothing about Strebler, so Jet fans, please stop with the Strebler stuff. Strebler looked okay running the ball. He's got a decently strong arm, but Strebler's not the future of the Jets either. The brass screwed the Jets out of a playoff spot by making Robert Saleh start Zach Wilson, knowing all well the kid knows nothing about professional football. He got the shit beat out of him in the only college game that that Eastern Carolina, they say, is the only big pretty much game they played, and he got the shit beat out of him against Eastern Carolina. Why the Jets took him second in the draft overall? Look at these quarterbacks that are excelling right now. That were picked before him. I'm tired of it. Jets, I don't want to see the Jets in the playoffs because you know why? You guys are going to say, oh, the Jets made the playoffs. Let's watch. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to sit down and watch that Jet game in the first round. They're going to play, they're going to be in the playoffs. The Jets aren't going fucking anywhere, dude. They got no quarterback. A quarterback is a huge deal in the NFL. Huge. And it's not a huge deal to a point where you have to have a strong arm to throw the football. It's not a huge deal. You have to be smart and you have to know the game of football. You have to know how to play against grown men. And Zach Wilson is not a grown man. Zach Wilson needs to go, and he needs to go back to Utah, like I said the other day, get him a couple of wives, pump out some kids, hang a poster of that guy that started the Mormon religion in his bedroom, and just go pick, corn or whatever it is you do out there in Utah. Get away from my football team. Get out of here. Jets have to sign. Listen, 1 year. Sign Aaron Rodgers next year. And again, I don't care. Just do something. Get somebody that can manage a football game. That's my rant about the Jets. And I don't want to see them anywhere near a playoff football game.
Nice, Rich. I got about 4 or 5 messages on Thursday night. Who's this Strevler guy? And people actually liking the guy. You know what? He's not an NFL quarterback. He played in Canada. He was in the 2019 Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, whatever the hell's up there. But you know what? He led the league in rushing touchdowns, and that's a totally different game. He's not going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns in the NFL. I mean, it's a cute, fuzzy story, this guy Strevler. But you know what, though, Rich? I think you're right. I think the Jets do need an Aaron Rodgers to join the team next year. They need that veteran, like when Brett Favre joined the team. Remember that, Rich? That brought a lot of juice into the Jets organization.
Yeah, Brett Favre didn't do much. I was admittingly very excited when Brett Favre came, but he really didn't do much either.
So you know what though, Rich? The Jets still have a chance, and I want to just go the AFC. I mean, there's 8 teams in the playoffs right now. 4 in the AFC, 4 in the NFC. A couple of divisions that still need to get. There's still so much going on, and it kind of makes you wonder if that 17th week wasn't around. This week would have been like must-see TV, basically, with all these teams fighting for spots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that again, let me just keep going with the Jets for a second. That Jet-Jaguars game to me could have been won at any point in that game. I mean, like you said, the Jaguars were not setting the world on fire the other night. Does this kid look like a good quarterback? He's still winning a Super Bowl this year. He's probably not even winning a playoff game this year. But you know what though? The Jaguars are doing the right thing with him. They're not expecting him to win a playoff game. They're not expecting him to win a Super Bowl. They're growing. He's young. He's got a strong arm. He's fast, and he's pretty smart too. And where now Zach Wilson and him, what were they, 1 and 2? Completely different human beings. Yep. I can't stand this kid, Zach Wilson. And you know why I can't stand him? Because I can't stand him because of the fact that everybody was so high on him and this, that, and the other thing. It's like now I think that everybody's so high on him because the fact that he was supposed to do so well. I'm done with him.
Yep, exactly. And I think the bigger losers weren't the Jets Jets or the Jaguars. The bigger losers were the fans, because you know what? For those fans to go to that game, risk pneumonia before the holidays and stuff, sit in that rain all night. I think Woody Johnson should have opened his checkbook and gave every fan a $50 check or gift card when they left that stadium that night. Because you know what? That game was a travesty, Rich.
Yeah. It was terrible. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was terrible, and they do not deserve to be. They do not deserve to be in the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination, at all.
Well, life is good for another New York team. Life is good for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are 12-3, and they own the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Kansas City Chiefs. This might be the first year where Pat Mahomes plays a road playoff game. He's played 9 games in Kansas City, and of course the 2 road games in the Super Bowl, which doesn't matter anyhow. Well, I guess it mattered for the Tampa Bay game because Tampa Bay was the home team, so that was kind of like a road game. But Mahomes never played on the road in a playoff game, so this might come to a crash this year because the Bills beat the Chiefs back in October, I believe. And the Bills, the big Monday night game next week, the Bills and the Bengals. That's going to be a huge game. But you got the Bills as the number 1 seed right now. They play like I said, they play the Bengals and then they host the Patriots. The Chiefs are 12-3. They're in the 2nd seed, and they hope the Bills lose 1 game. The Chiefs have Denver and Las Vegas on the road. They got Denver at home. Those are their 2 games. Cincinnati, like I said, plays Buffalo Monday night, and then they host the Ravens, who are another Jekyll and Hyde team. The Jacksonville Jaguars 7-8. They play a big week Week 18 game against the Tennessee Titans, and they play the Texans this week. So it looks like the Jaguars are the favorites to win that division. Like I said, the Baltimore Ravens made the playoffs as a 10-5 team. The Chargers play tonight against the Colts, and the Chargers are closing in on the wild card. And then it comes down to these three teams, Rich: the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots to get that other playoff spot. Crazy, right?
What's going to happen? You know what's going to happen with that scenario that you just said? I'm going to be going into Week 18. I'm going to be sitting on the couch, and that game is going to be for win and go home, win, go to the playoffs. That game in Miami at the end of the season is going to be one of those games where one of those teams is going to make the playoffs and one is going to go home. And then it's going to bring me all back in to the thing. And then when Monsert runs for 200 yards or whatever, or Waddle receiving 150 yards, and then they're going to crush my dreams again. That's going to be the setup, because it's like it every year when the Jets almost make the playoffs. It's either you got to play the Patriots to get in, or you got to play the Dolphins to get in. And I do not see, under any circumstances, the Jets beating the Dolphins to get into the playoffs this year.
Yep, and the Jets can actually do you guys a favor by losing to the Seahawks this weekend in Seattle. That's a long trip out there for a football game for an East Coast team, Rich.
It is. It is. I mean, you got, like I said, but the Jets and the Jags, and you know what's another, what you got to look out for here is, I'm looking at this. What about the Panthers, E?
Yeah, I'm still going over the AFC though, Rich. You got the Steelers.
No, you're right. Keep going. Okay.
You got the Steelers. Might be a little too late for them. I mean, the nice, warm, fuzzy win. I mean, we didn't talk about Franco Harris, but Franco Harris did so much for the game of football. Penn State guy, and even the players on the Steelers say he was still around the Steelers and everything. And I haven't heard anything about the cause of the death, but he was just on the radio Tuesday afternoon on the Mad Dog show, and Mad Dog asked him how he was doing. He said he's feeling great. So kind of ironic that he passed away 2 days before the great 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, and also his number being retired on Saturday. They did a nice tribute to him and stuff, but that was an awful tragedy because he gave back so much to the community and stuff, and that the city of Pittsburgh and stuff, and huge loss for that organization. I heard Terry Bradshaw go off, do a little thing about him and stuff before the game on Saturday night, and just a horrible, horrible tragedy this time of year. I know John Madden passed away this week last year too. Horrible tragedy to the NFL. So big name, Franco Harris, but it might be a little too late for the Steelers to make the playoffs. And of course, the Raiders are still alive at 6-9, but I think that ship has passed too. And you got the Browns, Colts, Broncos, and Texans. I was going to say Astros, but Texans maybe next year. And now we'll focus on the NFC, Rich. But do you have anything talk about the AFC before we move along?
I do. I kind of do. I'm looking at this. This Texans team is really kind of coming down the gate here, playing some good football and playing spoiler. That's just, I really feel I need to point that out. I don't know how the hell they're and all the games that they've played this year have been tight games. I mean, they're another team that might be a couple players away from making the playoffs. The Texans, I mean, either they shit the bed or they beat the Titans team, who literally, like I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, the Titans are I guess a paper tiger for lack of a better analogy. But yeah, they beat the Titans yesterday. I mean, it's the Texans are a team that maybe you're gonna have to watch in the future.
Yep, they should have beat the Cowboys, right? It's crazy, right?
Yeah. And again, the Packer Dolphin game yesterday, that's just that Packer Dolphin game yesterday. The Dolphins lost that game. They had to win that game. And there's somebody else who just, the Dolphins, the Dolphins just couldn't play up to their potential. And also it may have been the fact that Aaron Rodgers just kind of said, you know what, though, I have to make the playoffs. We're playing the Dolphins. Both of us need to win this game. And the Dolphins came up on the short end of the stick. But you know what, though? The Dolphins are definitely going to beat the Jets Week 18 if it means going to the playoffs. Then you got the Cardinals and the Bucs. We'll talk about that after. Raiders and Steelers. Steelers have been off and on. The Steelers are about 2 or 3 years about going on another 10-year run anyway. Once they fire their coach.
They never do that, though. They never fire their coaches. Rarely.
I know, but you know what, though? I've been listening to my buddy Scott, who's probably one of the biggest Steeler fans I know. And I know Pete's a big Steeler fan, too, and I know he agrees with him. But this quarterback, I mean, this coach has to go. I mean, he really does. The way he sits there, he's got no emotion anymore. Like, if the Steelers have to move on, because the Steelers they're their legacy team. You know what I mean? It's like they need somebody. They need a new changing of the guard. They got to get rid of their coach. But and they got to start. And listen, this new quarterback they have might be the real deal. He may not. But if he pans out, and he's a local kid, went to Pitt, if this kid pans out, he could be the future. He might be the future Terry Bradshaw for all I know. or the future Ben Roethlisberger, for all I know. So the Steelers are maybe a couple of years away. The Broncos are fucking terrible, dude. They are a horrible football team, and it has everything to do with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, you've been exposed. You've been absolutely exposed. Somebody just put a funny meme, and I know these memes are stupid, but Russell Wilson has as many touchdowns as he has bathrooms in his house.
Oh, jeez.
Russell Wilson was exposed as a bad football player this year, and I don't want to hear anything otherwise. They have a good defense there in Denver. They've been trying their asses off, and I think yesterday's loss, watching the Rams throw all over them with Baker Mayfield and run all over them, I think that was just a simple fact. It's like, fuck the offense, man. We got 2 weeks left. This guy Russell Wilson sucks. I'm not going 100. What am I going 100% for? And I'd hate to say that was the case, but watching Russell Wilson be your leader of that football team has got to be really disheartening. And knowing the fact that he went to a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Rich, about the Broncos, I just want to talk about my corporate fantasy football league, and I was trailing this guy yesterday. He had the Denver Broncos defense, and I said, oh, man, Broncos defense going against the Rams. I said, I'm not going to win this game. I look at 7:30 last night, and the Broncos had a -4. I'm up by 4 points. I have the Colts kicker tonight. He's got nobody, so I'm going to drop the Colts kicker, take a 0, pick up a free agent kicker who's not even on a team. I'll take the 0, and I will head to the Super Bowl next week. I've already guaranteed a couple of $100, so trying to do that, trying to win more. I was in the Super Bowl last year, but it was unfortunately, tragically, the weekend my dad passed away, so I didn't focus on fantasy football. Just managed to win a couple of 300, but you know what, though? This is my year, and I hope to win about $700-800 come next Monday morning. So that's my little fantasy football story about this guy taking the Broncos defense and getting a -4 yesterday to the Rams. So thank you, sir. I will see you in the office tomorrow.
Me too. Listen, it was a good thing. It was a good thing I was way ahead of Ben in fantasy football because I had the Broncos defense going. I thought it was a shoo-in going to the playoffs with the Broncos defense. They
And
lost
you
me
know what?
points yesterday.
And Rich, Brady wasn't lining up either, and Ben had Austin Eckler still going tonight. So I was saying if Brady has a shitty performance, I said, you got a great chance if Eckler goes off tomorrow night, but I think Eckler has to have a monster performance tonight in order to get in the to get him over you. But good job, Rich. Good job. You deserve it. You have a little dynasty going here, Rich.
This is this is a good segue for going into the NFC because talking about fantasy football real quick. Yes, Tom Brady didn't have a good game. But my backup quarterback scored 45 points over the weekend, and that is one Mr. Daniel Jones, who's slowly becoming the quarterback of the New York Giants.
Yeah, but Rich, look what the Giants did. They had a block punt, an interception, drop passes, penalties. They struggled. They failed to win for the 5th time in 6 games. I mean, numbers are good, but you got to win the game, though, Rich.
Yes, you do. But you know what? Though? I think watching the Giants because again, I'm not a Giant hater. I watch the Giants. Daniel Jones quietly is managing that team. And there's other things like he has his wide receivers. He's got no wide receiver lighting on fire. Saquon Barkley again had like I said in the beginning, had a good year this year. Their defense is okay, but Daniel Jones isn't that rah-rah yell Tom Brady type in your face, but he's just going to come in if he's a guy. He sees nothing downfield, he's going to take off running. The guy can run, the guy can throw, and he's slowly becoming a leader of that Giant football team. I mean, a quiet leader, but the Giants, I know a lot of good Giant fans that have been, wishing and hoping that guy, he would finally become the guy, and wash away all the other stuff. We should have had this guy. We should have had that guy. Why did we take Saquon Barkley? But Daniel Jones, he's slowly, making a name for himself. And I think that the Giants, not that they're going to get themselves a Joe Montana or a Tom Brady, but they're going to get a guy that's going to win some football games. And maybe, listen, they're in the playoffs right now. They're going to make some noise because, I think, like I said, they're very lacking at wide receiver, and their offensive line is a little suspect too. That's why Daniel Jones runs all over the place. But I don't know. I think the Giants have finally in their brains found their quarterback. I mean, listen, and they played against the Vikings team, dude. That Vikings are what are they, 12-3 now? Something like that?
They're 12-3. Yeah, 12-3. Yep.
Vikings are 12-3, bro. And they really, who are they really killing? Who are they murdering? Who are they beating?
But Rich, they're battle tested. They're 11-0 in one-score games. All their games have been close. So Kirk Cousins has been battle tested, and he's risen to the occasion this year. You know, I mean, they did lose a couple of games, but you know who the team that's really scared now? They feel the Eagles feel the Cowboys breathing down their necks right now. You know, I mean, they might have to rush Jalen Hurts back from injury in order to get the number one seed here because the Cowboys have beat them twice, and you know they're only they're 2 games behind. The Eagles play the Saints and the Giants still. The Cowboys play the Titans and the Commanders still. It's going to be close, Rich. If the Cowboys tie the Eagles, the Cowboys get who knows, number one seed, maybe Minnesota, but the Cowboys get that division. Crazy, right?
Now that's a question. Now, obviously, Philadelphia is in the playoffs. They're obviously they might get I don't know, whatever. See what happens. But a guy like Jalen Hurts right now? And listen, he's in the last couple of weeks he's surpassed Pat Mahomes as the MVP. Now, obviously, he obviously plays a big role. Now you're in the playoffs. I obviously home field advantage matters. But if Jalen Hurts wakes up on Sunday morning and says, not even says, if the doctor says like, maybe you shouldn't go today, do you rest him one more week and risk the fact that you might be playing an away game in Dallas the next week, or do you play him and hopefully get home field advantage, then you get a 2-week rest?
Well, fortunately for the Eagles, they have 2 home games. They play the Saints and the Giants. So if the Saints are pretty, the Saints did win in Cleveland, but Cleveland's different than Philadelphia. Philadelphia's a better team than Cleveland, but yeah. So I think they roll the dice, Rich. I think they go with Minshew this weekend with his mustache and everything. I think they get another game. Minshew didn't have a bad game at all, Rich. Minshew had over 300 yards passing, right? He had a pretty good game, Minshew and stuff, But the thing is, they lost their tackle, Lane Johnson, and that's big. Losing a guy on the offensive line could be critical going forward. But I think the Eagles go with Minshew this weekend against the Saints, and then they worry about their home game against the Giants. If they win this weekend, it's all academic. They win the one. They win the division basically if they win this weekend. So not that critical. Not as critical as it meant out to be.
Exactly. And you look at it, you look at a team like the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are a very schizophrenic team, dude. I mean, listen, they came out and put up a 40 spot on the Eagles, but they're a team that, if Dak Prescott's not having a good game, he's a good manager of the game. And I think that Ezekiel Elliott, I think they're going to trade Ezekiel Elliott. I think I trade him or get rid of him because Pollard is their running back, dude.
Now the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys made a move. They brought in T.Y. Hilton. You see T.Y. Hilton on that 3rd down and 30 play, a 52-yard pass. And that brings me to Odell Beckham Jr. Now, when you see Odell Beckham Jr. on the internet or every social media, where's Odell Beckham Jr., Rich? He's in a bar. He's got a drink in his hand and stuff. I think the Cowboys made the best decision by not signing this guy and by bringing in somebody like T.Y. Hilton, who's been conditioning over the past couple of weeks, not waiting for a team to call, and then you put down the drinks and stuff. And that's why I think Gronk is still out there. Gronk could be a great guy to have in the playoffs. And did you see there's a rumor out there, a team that signs Gronk will let him wear the number 69. So when the referees make a penalty about the number 69, there could be some funny sayings about 69. But we'll see if that happens. I know.
There is no way the NFL is going to let Gronk use the number 69. There's no way.
You know how many jerseys would sell, Rich?
That would be if Gronk came. All kidding aside, if Gronk came back to the NFL with the number 69 jersey, that would be the biggest selling jersey in the history of jerseys. I think personally. Yeah,
because nobody wears who wears the 69s? Offensive, defensive linemen. Nobody gives a shit about those guys. Nobody buys their jerseys now, right? But if Gronk wears the 69,
this day and age. This day and age, you're watching a linebacker is attacking the quarterback with the number 1 jersey on. Like that's
true. Yeah. The number thing went out the board. I remember when we were kids, there was like a uniform thing where if you were a quarterback, you had to wear like 12. Now quarterbacks wear any number and stuff. You see running backs wearing number 7. It used to be like in the 30s, and it's crazy with the numbers and stuff. But
when that first happens, it's like if you're a quarterback going back to pass and you see number 1 rushing up the middle, it's like, what are you doing, bro? You're the punter. Holy shit, you're the linebacker. It's like. I don't know.
But
Rich, things a little crazy.
Rich, you could have the Eagles, the Vikings, the Cowboys, but you know what though? In reality, the 49ers won 8 in a row, and they close out the season with Las Vegas and Arizona. So two cupcake games basically, but they're playing the best football in the NFL right now in both the AFC and the NFC, the 49ers, and Purdy's 3-0 right now as Mr. Irrelevant and stuff. How about that?
Now again. That's a team. That's a team that I don't know. Maybe he's just a better quarterback than he's coming into his own in the NFL. But the 49ers, and again, we're talking about the 49ers. The 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl in the trenches with their defensive line and their offensive line, their running backs. They're gonna ground the pound. That defense, Eric. Nick Bosa is playing worldly football right now.
Yep.
Like nobody can stop that guy right now. He's all over the field. And again, he's like a modern day, JJ Watt. JJ Watt had a ridiculous game last night too, but he's a modern day version of that. How do you stop Nick Bosa? In other words, so if you have a team that has a quarterback that likes to sit in the pocket, the 49ers are going to kill you every day. You got to have a mobile quarterback against the 49ers. And the 49ers going to the playoffs, not playing a mobile quarterback, hitting the pocket, the 49ers are going to win all the time. And again, that is why right now the 49ers are I said it the other. The 49ers are my choice to win the Super Bowl this year. Big. The 49ers are going to beat whoever is the representative of the AFC. I don't care if it's the Chiefs. I don't care who it is. I think that the 49ers are going to win big in the Super Bowl against anybody they play because in the beginning of the year, they played iffy football. They don't have Deebo Samuel yet. He's not even back yet.
Yep.
So the fact is that they're a team that's been kind of hanging on, what are they doing? Then they get McCaffrey. McCaffrey's first week, he's playing okay. Then all of a sudden, McCaffrey gets it because he knows the offense. Deebo Samuel goes out. So now Deebo Samuel's come back next week. You get no name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the offensive line. I'm sure they're not no names, but a 49er fan can tell me. But you got 5 guys that are going to protect. If I'm back there, those 5 guys are going to protect me. You know what I mean? So, and on that defensive line, you got a guy like Nick Bosa running his ass off for 4 quarters. You're damn right. Every single other person on that defensive line and the linebackers are going to be running their ass off as well. It's kind of like, look at me, do as I do. Their defense and their offensive line are going to win them a Super Bowl this year. I don't give a shit who's behind the center.
Right. It's looking like Brock Purdy, and someone's going to come up to me and say, "Hey, EDUBBS, what a story about this Brock Purdy guy, the first Mr. Irrelevant to ever win a Super Bowl." And I'm going to say, "You're wrong, because the first Mr. Irrelevant to win a Super Bowl is Buccaneers kicker Ryan Suckup. He was Mr. Irrelevant, and he won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So Brock Purdy, you can win the Super Bowl, but you're not the first. Nah. Actually, the Buccaneers I want to talk about now, Rich, because you know what? If they would have lost that game last night, I would have lost all hope, basically. They look pretty shitty again. They didn't score over 20 points again. The game went to overtime, but, Brady managed to pull the game out of his ass once again. So as long as Tom Brady's the quarterback, the magic can happen. And that's why I think they need Gronk and stuff. But if the Buccaneers win next weekend, they're in. If they lose next weekend, it's not going to be an easy ride because the Carolina Panthers are playing some great ball right now. And if they win out, they're the winner of that division. So here's who the Buccaneers got.
Correct me if I'm wrong about the Buccaneers. Their rushing defense is terrible, right?
Well, the defense played pretty good last night, Rich. They got a lot of injuries. If they get these guys healthy, the problem with the Buccaneers is offense. The Evans and Brady can't hook up. I mean, Evans is a Hall of Fame receiver. Brady's a Hall of Fame quarterback. They had great years. I don't know what's going on this year between the two. They're just way off. Godwin's okay. He's looking good, but the running games, it seems like the Buccaneers are not an offense. They haven't scored over 21 points in weeks, Rich. Maybe 2 times this season. One time this season, they scored over 30. You got to score points. You can't win on defense alone, especially when some of your defensive guys are hurt. But yeah, we'll see what happens with them. But this is a must game this weekend. They, all season we thought the Buccaneers, it'll be a cakewalk for them. But if they lose on Sunday, they're on the outside looking in basically because this Carolina team who traded away Christian McCaffrey, fired their coach, and traded Robbie Anderson away, and we thought they're going to finish that. All of a sudden, the Panthers, who rushed for 300 yards against the Detroit Lions last week, are looking like a powerhouse in the NFC South. Crazy, right?
But you know what, though? Look, listen, they rushed for 254 yards against a team that's got a defense that's basically a high school defense, dude. That defense is horrible.
Yeah, but they played some pretty good ball, the Lions, over the past couple of weeks. I think they won like 6 out of 8 games.
Offensively, they're an offensive juggernaut. But the fact of the matter is their defense can't stop the ball. They can't.
Right. Exactly. And
the Panthers rushed for 254 yards yesterday, and they traded McCaffrey a couple of weeks ago. Think of that.
Yep. Chuba Hubbard, right? Crazy. Deontay Foreman. I mean, they got these guys off the scrap, basically. Imagine if they still had McCaffrey, Rich. They'd be winning that division, I would think, right?
I don't know. That goes back to I don't know. That goes back to the fact that just because you have a superstar, does that mean you're going to win something? Maybe you had a different offense that you wanted to run, and
But
that involved two or
look
three
at their
running backs.
quarterback, Sam Darnold, huh? Jeez.
Exactly. And again, who cares? Like everyone, Jet fans, like, oh, look how good Sam Darnold is doing. Another one. Don't look back, Jet fans. Don't look back. It's just it's whatever. Sam Darnold's doing that because he's in a system, like I said, and the coach tells him where to hand the ball, and he's not making any great throws. Like he made a good throw the other night, but it's not like, oh wow, we should have Sam Darnold behind center now. No, he's another one. He's a Zach Wilson. No, we need something. I don't know. We need somebody to start doing their research on these quarterbacks. So I don't know. No, Sam Darnold, good for him. Maybe he makes the playoffs. I'd like it if he made the playoffs.
So we got Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, Cowboys already solidified in. You got the Tampa, Carolina winner getting in, and then you got the Giants. The Giants win, they're in, and then you got that last spot between the Commanders, Skins, Seahawks, Lions, and even the Packers are still alive, believe it or not. Crazy, right?
Packers are still alive. I know, exactly. Aaron Rodgers might be throwing the ball for the Jets next year, but which is fine. But yeah, you're right. You know what? No, let me go back to 1 second, 'cause I really didn't follow this too closely. You might have. How did the Patriots come back? It's 20. The Bengals were killing them. How did the Patriots come back?
Patriots came back. They did a lot of, they were hemming and hawing their way and stuff like that. They were down 22-0, but, there was, I was watching Red Zone and stuff. So, Red Zone comes in and out and stuff. It seems like Red Zone was focused on the Titans-Texans game too much this weekend. They didn't show too much Giants-Vikings highlights. But yeah, it seemed like every time they flash back, here come the Patriots coming down the field and stuff. So I think Burrow made a couple of mistakes, Rich. But yeah, crazy, right? And did you see that video of the guy in Arizona? Was it where'd they play the Raiders? Oh yeah, in Las Vegas last week, the Patriots were there, and there's this woman, and she's berating this Patriots guy. She's just screaming at the guy, and the guy was so classy, he wasn't even paying attention to her. She's like white trash, probably missing a few teeth. She hugs her husband. Husband thinks she's doing a great job. She's just screaming at this guy, and the guy just stands there. So Robert Kraft flew this guy into New England, put him up in his box, and really kind of great story because it could have got into a fight or something like that. But, and that's another thing. These fans at these games and stuff, they come in so inebriated. They think they can say whatever they want and cause these fights and stuff like that. You know what? If I'm going to wear an opposition jersey to a game, just let people enjoy the game and stuff like that. It's crazy. But check out the video on YouTube or Twitter, Rich, about this woman berating the Patriots fan last week after that stupid play that won the game for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's been like that for you know what I mean. It's been like that for a long time. You know what I mean? The fans get fans get drunk and they start thinking that they got to fight the other team, and it's been like that forever. You just got the only thing you can really do to combat that is, I hate to say it, is the only thing you can do to combat that. Don't wear a Met jersey to Philly. Don't wear a Flyers jersey. Don't wear a Flyers jersey to the Garden. Don't wear a Red Sox jersey to Yankee Stadium, or vice versa. Don't wear a Wolverines jersey to an Ohio State game. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I guess people are stupid and will beat you up for that. You, I guess, have to be smarter. If you want to go with a bunch of your friends and you do want to go, there's a lot of guys out there that want to roll up to a Yankee game from Boston, like 15 of that want to fight Yankee fans. I guess that's fine. It's not fine, but knowing that you're going to go in fighting is different than wearing a jersey at the stadium and unknowing get a beer spilled on your head, because you're smart, but the guys that in the stadium, you can't, you can't rely on the guys in the stadium not to do that. You know what I mean? So I guess the smart thing to do is, just don't wear that opposing jersey. I don't know that's the only way you can combat that, because there's idiots in this world, dude.
Yep. And they're rich. There's a way here. I was just, when you were talking right now, I was paying attention to you, but I was also trying to figure out something in my mind. I was multitasking, that the New Orleans Saints can still make the playoffs too, believe it or not. If they win out and if the Bucks lose out, the New Orleans Saints will be the champions of the NFC South. How about that?
I'll tell you, the New Orleans Saints are a team. They have another team that's got a future star. That Taysom Hill is a star, dude. I'm telling you right now, that kid. I don't know what he's going to do in the NFL. He's going to be a quarterback, a tight end. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's Tim Tebow like in the NFL.
Well, yeah, and I just want to let you know for my corporate fantasy football league, I did pick up Taysom Hill off the waiver wire, even though I
Good
have
job.
I have Mark Andrews at as my tight end, and I slid Taysom Hill right into the utility spot, and he gave me 12 points. So Taysom Hill, thank you so much. I'll have to buy your jersey with my $800 when I win it next week. So thank you, Taysom.
I hear you. I hear you. All right.
He's also like a Doug Flutie type too, Rich. Flutie was like that type of, quarterback who just took the ball, it doesn't work in the NFL, the wishbone offense, I guess, right? It doesn't work in the NFL, but sometimes it does actually,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you never know. Miami tried doing that a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. Yep. And I missed those days, Rich. It was a couple of years ago. It came up on my Facebook that it was 6:45 on a Sunday evening, and everyone's TVs turned to CBS to watch Tim Tebow move mountains and walk on water. Right? Remember that?
Isn't it amazing the downfall of a player? He's the perfect. He is literally the poster boy for just because you're really good in college does not mean it's going to translate to the NFL.
There's a lot of guys like that. We've seen that with quarterbacks over the years and stuff. But he tried baseball too, Rich, and that didn't work out either.
I know, but all that talk about Tim Tebow is like Tim Tebow is probably Tim Tebow. I mean, you can make an argument for other players, but he might be the greatest. He might be the greatest college football player of all time.
Could be, right? Yeah, yeah. Very well could be, I mean, argument's sake, we could have a show on that, but he's up there, maybe top 10 at least,
I'm just saying for argument's sake, being that he could be one of the greatest college football players of all time. Guy comes into the NFL, and you got somebody like Ray Lewis is waiting on the other side to like murder him. That's a big jump, man. You got college kids. All right, fine. I'm the best amongst college kids, but once you get to the NFL, you're playing against men that have to feed their families.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but good luck to him in retirement. And I see his little Facebook pictures and stuff with his wife and stuff, but never quite had the ability to be an athlete and make it big in the NFL or the MLB. So, but Rich, how about yesterday? You watch any basketball yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I watched. I caught some of the Celtics game yesterday.
Okay.
Guys, anybody in the NBA? We'll do a little bit of NBA. We got a couple of minutes here. We're gonna preface the NBA, guys. If you guys are NBA fans out there, when is Jason Tatum going to get the nod to be one of the best players in the NBA? I know you got your Giannis's and your Durant's and your Embiid's and your big guys, but when is Jason Tatum going to get a nod to be the best player in basketball? That guy does so many things on so many levels.
No doubt. And Rich, you Kevin Durant. The reason why the Nets weren't on Christmas yesterday, do you know why?
Was Kevin Durant had a Christmas party to go to?
No, and I remember the whole I don't want to play for the Nets thing back in the summertime when the schedule came out. So the NBA said, screw you, Nets. We're not going to have you on. And you know what? They missed the boat because two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, the Nets and the Cavaliers, actually play on Boxing Day tonight and not on Christmas Day, which would have been a pretty good game. So, once those schedules are locked in gold, but actually in the NBA, the season's like 40% complete. And if you look in the East, Rich, you have like 5 teams separated by 3 games. So the Nets, after that whole Kyrie Irving thing, they've really come back. They think they've won 8 in a row and 9 out of their last 10. So they're really playing good ball now, the Nets.
Yeah, they are. They are. But you know what? And Eric, I know you're a Nets fan, and it's unfortunately like the Nets are just that team that I don't know. They just have 2 big egos on it, and both big egos want to be the man. And sometimes when you have 2 great players, it's all well and good, but the ego thing gets in the way, man. And Kyrie, listen, the guy's a very talented basketball player, but can we have enough of this guy, please?
Did you see the performance that Nikolai Jokic had last night, Rich?
Now, these 2 guys, all right, Jokic and what's his name? The other
Luka
guy,
Doncic on
Doncic.
Dallas. Yeah.
I don't know what I mean. I don't know if you're a Dallas fan or a Denver fan, you know that these guys are the best player in basketball. But if you're a Knicks, Celtics, Nets fan or whatever, you're like, who are these? Not that who are they? If you're a real hardcore basketball fan, but these are 2 of the greatest players on the planet right now. You cannot Luka. That guy shoots. He jams the ball. He passes. The other guy in Denver is almost averaging a triple double. When are these European players gonna be looked at as some of the greatest players in the world? I mean, I know like the Dominican players in baseball and but But these two kids are lighting it on fire. But you still hear about Kyrie Irving. You still hear about these guys, which they're good basketball players. But comparatively, these two guys, probably best center and best forward, or guard, or whatever you want to call Luka. He could do anything. He's like, he's LeBron James. He could do anything. So I don't know, man. Comparatively, like these two guys are playing out of their minds for the last 5 years. Now, I just want to do I just did a quick little comparison when just talking about these guys for a minute. I
Sure.
compared Joel Embiid and Jokic. Okay.
Mhm.
Now Jokic, Embiid's got Jokic has one more season, but let's just go. The field goal percentage is roughly the same. Embiid's got a little bit of a higher field goal percentage. Minutes about the same. Games started because Embiid's been hurt. Here we go. Embiid's averaging 26 points and Jokic is averaging 20. But the steals and the rebounds for Jokic are higher than Embiid. Okay, I'm going to have to say at the end of the day, Jokic is probably going to have a better career than Embiid.
Yeah, and Embiid gets hurt a lot too. He hurts his foot a lot, leg, whatever. But don't forget, Rich, Jokic won the MVP the past 2 years, so he is getting some NBA knowledge. But in terms of fan knowledge, he's not. So.
Yeah, NBA love. That's what I'm saying. Like he's getting NBA love, but a lot of these people that watch the NBA really don't know. They know, but and another guy. I did another comparison here. Luka. I just picked a random, same position. And as a matter of fact, him and Trae Young have been in the league exactly the same years.
Yep.
But and I'm saying they're pretty. Luka's got a higher. He plays more minutes. He's got more 3-pointers. His 3-point percentage is a little lower. And then again, these two guys right here. Doncic is 27 points and Trae Young's averaging 25. Now Trae Young, you would think, is one of the best forwards in the game. But again, Luka and him, they're really good. They're pretty much the same. And I think at the end of the day, Doncic is going to wind up being one of the best players ever to play basketball.
Crazy, right? It's unreal just how he's a monster out there. You know what though, Rich? When he's up for a contract, that's going to be pretty interesting where he goes, Jokic, right?
You know what though? He's not going anyway, dude. Oh, you talking about Luka? You're talking about
I was talking about Jokic. Yeah. I'm sorry. We know Doncic's not going anywhere. Luka's not going anywhere with his owner. But what about Jokic in Denver? Where's he going to go?
Mark Cuban would do anything for that guy. You know what though? Yesterday I saw my son showed me. They did a nice little video on Dirk Nowitzki, and Cuban right now is like, this is my Dirk Nowitzki. You know what I mean? So he's not going anywhere. What's his name? Would be stupid to stay in Denver, even though Denver's playing good basketball right now. But he needs to be somewhere. He needs to be in New York. That's where he needs to be.
Yep, exactly. That's true. So, we spoke about in the beginning, like guys playing on Christmas Day, but you know what? Look at these numbers from yesterday, Rich, right? Jokic, 41 points, 15 assists, 15 rebounds. Do you think he cares about playing on Christmas? Jason Tatum, 41 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. You had Jordan Poole, 32 points in 29 minutes for the Golden State Warriors. You had Luka Doncic yesterday, 32 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds. And did you watch that game, Rich? He was like bending down. It looked like he was having some stomach problems, and he still goes out there and almost gets a triple-double, basically. Crazy, right? Joel Embiid, 35 points, 8 rebounds against the Knicks. And the Knicks totally fell asleep in the fourth quarter yesterday. I don't know what the hell happened to them, but you know what, though? It seems like the Knicks are being the Knicks again, basically, and stuff in New York, right? Crazy, right? That franchise, I don't understand, with so much money with the Dolan family. I think the Dolans just have to go out and sell that team, basically.
Yeah, they do. I don't know. Yeah, everybody talks about Madison Square Garden being like the Garden of Eden. Everybody wants to come to nothing's been happening in Madison Square Garden since the 90s. And that team didn't even win a championship.
Hey, so last championship, 72, Rich, 50 years ago, the last championship, for heaven's sakes.
If you look into that, like, I can't, Madison Square Garden, that's like the Garden of Eden. It's the Mecca of basketball. There are about maybe like 20 arenas right now that are more the Mecca of basketball than Madison Square Garden is. It's just, again, it's just everybody's allure to New York City. Everybody's allure, New York City, whatever, dude. Like right now, like, even, back in the day, like, back in the day, all these, New York teams, you want to come to New York to play to get exposure. Now, all the money and everything's been getting, more and more. It's like, it doesn't really matter anymore where you play, as long as you're a star in your city.
Exactly. That's true. Yep. Exactly. So, but yeah, 41% of the season over, and 5 teams within 3 games of the Eastern title, Eastern Division title, and 9 teams within 4.5 games of the Western Conference. So tight league now, and that should be interesting around the trading deadline. I love the NBA trading deadline. So many trades that go around and stuff, kind of like You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I just want to show you something. I just want to show you something here. Okay, this is the what do you call it? This is the West right now. Okay,
Yep.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Nuggets, Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Suns.
Hmm.
9, actually, well, Timberwolves haven't run. 9, 10 is the Timberwolves, 11 and 12. You got the Trailblazers, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, and the Thunder. The Lakers are below them. The point I'm making is these are newer teams. You're talking about dispersing the talent. You got the
Yes.
Nuggets, Pelicans, Grizzlies, and the Suns got rid of one of the best players in basketball, and they're still in fourth place.
Look at the
So
Jazz. The
I'm
Jazz
trying
got
to
rid of
like
Gobert.
turn.
Donovan Mitchell and
What?
Gobert left the Jazz, and look at the Jazz. The Jazz are doing pretty good too.
It's and it's I love seeing LeBron James in pretty much last place. Oh God, just go, just get the hell out of here. Go, I can't stand you. Go.
Closer to the Houston Rockets than they are to the Denver Nuggets, Rich, in that conference. So let them finish last, right?
You know what? It's funny you say that because the bottom three are the Lakers, the Spurs, and Houston. Those are three.
Crazy.
Those are supposed good franchises.
Crazy. Oh, James Harden yesterday reported that he wants to go back and play with the Rockets. That was the rumor yesterday. So we'll see what happens there.
Say no. Just say no. This guy. No, I'm tired of that guy too. Just say no. Oh, what is he? He's upset where he is now.
Always.
He was man. He's not getting enough minutes in Philadelphia. I don't know. Well, now he wants to go to Houston. Shut up. Shut
Pull the
up.
same crap he pulled in Brooklyn, Rich. Just send him wherever he wants. Send him to China.
You know what he's gonna do? He's like, oh, you know what? Oh, so you don't want to trade me? It's gonna every single night after every game. I'm gonna go to Pat's and the other cheesesteak place. I'm gonna eat 4 cheesesteaks every single night, gain 150 pounds like I did to the Nets, and then you're gonna be forced to trade me. Then I'm gonna go on a diet, and I'm gonna be happy
Oh
for
my
3 months.
God, Rich.
I hate James Harden's
You
another
tickle,
thing.
you
What?
tickle the nerve with Pats. Oh my God, Pats. My grandfather was in Albert Einstein Hospital in Philadelphia, and what I did was after I visited him, I went to Pats and I brought home 3 cheesesteaks. Traveled 3 hours from Philadelphia back to Fishkill with 3 cheesesteaks from Pats. Oh my God, Pats! I can go there right now. As a matter of fact, maybe we'll do our show from
I,
there one day, Rich.
I've never had one, Eric, and I know I'm missing out, but I've never had a Philly
Okay,
cheesesteak.
Rich.
I never
Here's what
have.
we do. Next summer, we do a Mets Phillies game, and we go to Pats before the game. How's that?
Eric, that's absolutely 100%. That's absolutely that sounds like a fantastic idea. I would definitely
Don't,
do that.
but don't wear your Mets shirt because I don't want to have to bring you home in a body bag, Rich.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like if my kids aren't around, you forget. I like to antagonize people. So you may not want to go to a game with me because I'm the antagonizer. If I don't have my kids with me, I guess I'll be I would never hit anybody, but antagonize somebody with a Met jersey in Philly or see what happens. But if I had my kids with me, I would never do that.
Well, you saw that book I was holding on Facebook. It had the baseball road trip book and stuff. So, excuse me. After this show, I'm going to take a look where I want to travel next year as part of our a road trip we take every year. But definitely, we should take a trip down the turnpike to Philadelphia, Rich. And I got some good seats in Philadelphia. I sit with the sophisticated people, like Ben says. So there's not really too many fights where I get these seats. And once you leave New York, Rich, tickets are so much easier to come by in the nicer sections in the stadiums, as you know, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. All right, listen, Eric, it's coming up on a little over 2 hours now. I want to ask you a question before we wrap it up here.
Sure.
Give me your prediction for as it is now NBA championship. Who is making the NBA championship this year?
Okay, Rich. I don't want to feel biased on this or anything, but I really do think that the Brooklyn Nets are going to really turn this around, and I think this is their year. It's boom or bust for the Nets. Just like we say with the Mets have to win the World Series. The window's closing. Well, the Nets window is closing too. So I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets. And I will take, the West is really it's a crapshoot, Rich. You know what, though? I love this guy, John Morant. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's Nets and Grizzlies in the championship, Rich. And what do you think about that?
Oh my God, he's such a good basketball player, that John Morant. I think, and I'm telling you now, it's going to be the Celtics against the Grizzlies. That's
Ah,
my
okay.
final. The Celtics are kicking back a little bit now. They've lost a couple of games. You know what I mean? But it's going to be the Celtics, and like you, this kid John Morant is so much fun to watch, dude. So much fun.
Yep. And like another guy that's out of New York and nobody knows about him, Rich,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say my Celtics are gonna continue to play the way they're playing. Tatum is gonna hopefully get a nod for MVP this year. And listen, Jaylen Brown, you got Jaylen Brown on that team. Like he's even playing amazing this year, but he's getting kind of overshadowed by Tatum and Brown. Tatum and Brown are probably one of the better tandems in basketball right now. So
And
the
Marcus
Celtics.
Smart too. If you throw in Marcus Smart too, you got a nice trio, right? With Marcus Smart.
You know what it is about Marcus Smart? That's the thing. I was just going to bring that up. You got Brown and you got Tatum with all the defense. Then you got Marcus Smart on defense. Marcus Smart and Hofford are playing ridiculous defense right now, and you need two guys like that in a lineup if you're going for a chip, as they say.
Exactly. So we will talk about that in July, I guess, right? That's when or June when the finals happen and stuff. We'll see if we're right about that, Rich. I guess that's our bold prediction of the day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my friend,
all right.
we're gonna get kicked off in a couple of minutes here, I guess, right? But what a show today! Great show, huh? Monday morning, Boxing Day, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, great show. Oh, today's Boxing Day. That's right. What do you call it Boxing Day?
I always thought because there are fights on and stuff, but I think Boxing Day means that people go to the malls to return gifts. That's why I kind of put that teaser on Facebook. Take the leash off if your wife's dragging you to the mall today, and listen to the MURF and EDUBBS show. But I think that's what Boxing Day is. People return stuff. And in England, they have a full slate of soccer games, too, on Boxing Day. So that's big over there, too. So it's like, I think Ben was telling me the Premier League, every team plays today on Boxing Day. So there's our soccer take for the day, Rich.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right, like I said, dude, episode 25. We got a quarter of a century in the books, E.
Yeah, not bad. 26 Friday night, Rich. What do you think? New Year's Eve coming, New Year's Day. What do you think? Friday night we'll have 26?
Yeah, very soon. Yeah, like I said, next couple of days. The holidays are over, so we'll be a little more open to different days. But yeah, Friday. Friday's actually good. I don't know, the Monday Friday thing might work too. I don't know. We'll talk about that. You still there, E?
Yeah, I'm here. We'll still talk about that. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So look, guys. Like I said, I know we went into a lot of details tonight about the major leagues. We had some smart people talking about baseball. That's why we are going to put a little bit of a bow on baseball, righty? Like if baseball is going to, unless something huge happens in baseball, we're not going to bore you guys with baseball anymore. It's going to be all NBA, all NFL, and some random sports. I mean, I think that's the direction we got to go, righty?
Yeah, I think cousin Joe told us enough baseball already. He gave us the subliminal hint that we're talking too much baseball in December. So, but you know what though, Rich? In 9-10 weeks, it's spring training, so we'll be back on baseball, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother. We're almost
Great.
done. So, Eric, I'll call you a little bit later. We'll discuss episode 26. And as usual, I had a fantastic time hanging with you talking about sports. I want to thank Pete. I want to thank Ben. And I want to thank everybody listening out there. Guys, it's so easy to call in and bullshit with us. We're easy to talk to. So kind of call in and chime in if you want. Righty?
Yeah, we're not only about sports too, Rich. Tell us about your favorite pizza place, what you like to do and where you like to go, any cities you visited. We're pretty easy on the ears and stuff for people to talk to. But I got some ideas for show 26, Rich, so give me a call later on.
You got it, brother. Absolutely. And I like to get a little saucy with the politics too, so.
There you go.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the MURF and EDUBBS show, episode 25, and we will see you guys next week. Later.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and enjoy, everybody. Happy and safe. And we'll see you this week. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
All right, later, dude.